just a ride. Whoa, oh, it's just a ride.
Welcome.
Yay.
We're on number 20, Just a Ride.
Yay.
Holy shit, 20.
I'm Peeba.
I am Poobah.
Here, what the hell bar are you?
Bear
again?
Ba.
Bear Ba.
And that's it. And we've decided it's Bear Ba.
It's Bear Ba.
Once
Yeah.
and for all.
Which works.
Thrice and for all.
Good. Peeba, Poobah, Bear Ba.
Bear.
Well, welcome to Jar 20. And we've got a whole bunch of fun shit to talk
Stuff and
about.
things.
Yeah. And we're going to start with police stories as usual. That's
Per
what we're
the
doing
usual.
lately. Is there anything that we want to talk about? We're going to start a Patreon. That's happening. We're stepping outside of the SKATCAST realm.
Ooh, is this the announcement section of the show? Perfect.
Yeah, let's just start it off with that. Yeah,
Why
that's
not?
good. Yeah, this
So-
is what we're planning on.
Yeah. And we're not sure exactly what we're going to do with all the Patreon stuff, but we would like to start it so that we can do some extra content together.
Yeah, because we all have an
fun some
abundance
shit.
of free time that we want to cram a whole bunch of more shit into.
Right. But maybe we could do some more shit. But I like the idea. And so, yeah, it makes sense to kind of separate it from the SKATCAST world. It'll still be SKATCAST Presents, of course. But
Of course.
It'll be the three
Branding,
of us doing our own
baby,
thing.
branding.
Indeed. So you can kind of go on the ride with us a little bit more. And next episode, we'll probably touch on what that will entail.
Yeah.
So it's not available yet, but next week it will be.
Tell your friends, but
right.
quietly, because we're not ready yet.
Right. Yeah.
But we're close.
Although it might be very... Who knows? We're recording this at the same time as we did the last episode, so...
You're ruining the magic.
The magic's
Pay
gone.
no attention to the man behind the
It happens.
curtain.
It's my fault that that's happening. So
Yeah,
sorry, guys.
Jeff's very high maintenance, but we love him.
I just
so
leave a lot.
we make concessions. Yeah,
Bear
Part
Ba's
of
up,
knowing
Ba and
me
the
is
Bear's up the
understanding that
Bear
I
Ba
disappear
land.
a lot.
his presence in this podcast is kind of like an absentee father. You
Yeah.
know, when he shows up, he makes the most of the time, but when
You get a
then he's
toy
just
that you're like,
fucking-
wow, I
he's
love
just gone.
So I am now the Disneyland dad of the podcasting. Outstanding.
Took us to Disneyland, fucking gave us a hat. We wear the hat every day. Haven't seen him since.
One of the ears is just like wilted.
Sad Mickey ear. This is for you, father. Fuck. Did this get dark? It kind of got dark.
It's probably going to be a recurring theme this episode.
I think
my
so.
guess.
But be prepared. If you would like to throw money at us and help us do a few fun things, we want to make a video version of the show for one. We'd like to go take you guys with us on a few excursions, maybe go to the range, and maybe they might take me out camping. I don't fucking know. But some of those things don't cost any money. Some of them will. But it just allows us to do cool shit. Maybe some reaction videos, because that's
That'll
my
be fun.
That's my background.
We'll go down
baby.
to
You guys
camp.
don't even know.
We could have a good.
Go down
we could
to
be
Camp
super. Yeah, go down to Camp Hope undercover.
I would like to. I'm
Danger
curious.
zone.
Yeah, I don't want to get stabbed.
Danger
I know,
zone. I'd go.
Half the people down there, though.
Yeah, See, I wouldn't get stabbed with three.
You'd need
Actually,
to-
They probably wouldn't recognize me now.
You'd need a
That's
long
disguise. Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
you
Well,
could just put on a fake mustache
No,
over
he's
your
wearing it.
actual mustache.
He's wearing his disguise.
They'll never suspect.
All right.
We could be super cliche about it and do like a try not to laugh fucking challenge,
Yeah.
which Zach will lose.
I will. I can't. That's my way of being. I always laugh.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Products.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
Nick and I are working on a
The
new
Bear
product.
Bear Bar, right?
Yeah, the Bear Bar, which is
The B3B, B4,
B cubed.
it's the Bear Bears
B.
Three.
That's three.
Bear Bar. It's for your bare body because it's a soap.
Makes
It is
sense.
made with bear fat.
Oh, it's Bear Bar. BARE at the last bear. I get it now. I see how you guys are.
Bear, BAR.
Bear Bears.
Bear.
BARE.
Bar.
BAR.
All right, worst podcast
Does that
ever.
make it clear?
Just a Ride is getting a line of soaps, and it's made from bears. This guy fucking
BARE
harvested.
BARE.
That was not a challenge, motherfucker.
It wasn't.
I think
Correct.
You nailed it, though.
The
Sounded
correct
right.
way to spell
Ding, ding,
bear,
ding,
bear,
ding.
bear bar is.
Anyway, yeah. She and I worked on some scents
It's a household
today.
name.
I am actually going to sample it, and so is Shaiden. And Zach, I have one more for you if you want it.
Yes, I do. It smells like Jeff's testicles, so make sure you get those
Which
immediately.
is magnificent.
Coincidentally, that's what
Trust
I'm going to
me.
wash with mine first.
You're gonna wash
Jeff's
the
testicles.
smell onto yours. I would like my testicles to smell like another person's testicles.
It's like when the ladies spend too much time around each other and their cycles match up. Our ball smells just
ball
like
sm-
starting to become the pH
Anyway,
seems familiar.
It's the Just a Ride tribe smell. My God. Actually, we do kind of have our own smell here in this universe that we're in. Weird.
weird.
All right, so the Bear Bar. God damn, that
Yeah.
does kind of
Made
roll off
from
the
bear
tongue.
fat. I mean, you can't get really more all natural than what that is.
Right.
So we'll check out the scents and go from there.
Yeah, and they should be up. They'll absolutely be up at the point of this coming out into the universe. So
Yeah.
I think we're working on designing a couple new shirts too.
That's right.
Like something for the
mantis.
something for all of you reasonableists out there.
Yep.
We're trying to figure out a shirt for you, and yeah, we want to make a mantis, fucking one punch shrimp.
We should have got the Yes, the One Punch Shrimp is going to be my favorite shirt. I think I can feel it. It's going to be up there with Pigeon of Destiny for me.
Yep.
But we definitely need to get a reasonable shirt. We should have done that before November so that people could have gone and been proud at the polls and been like, no, I think you guys all suck.
Dude, we should make one punch shrimp panties where they're like punching down, so to speak.
Punching the clam. That's what I was saying. So I think you guys missed the whole joke. I was saying it'd be great seeing the world in 16 colors and just punching clam for a
Oh,
living.
no, I
That'd
got
be
that.
great.
I did. No, I missed that joke.
I feel like
actually.
I got that one.
I took it literally because I'm not a fucking filthy degenerate.
Says he. I don't
not
know
true,
if
I
that's
am.
true at all. All right. Well, now that we've kind
This
of had
concludes the announcement.
this is our
section of Just
introduction. Now
Arrived.
that we've done a bit of internal business, let us move on to Toppenish.
Wait, do you think we should go over the minutes from last week
I
before
do
we
believe so. Please, where's the Grand Poobah to read us this thing? You're the Poobah.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
All right.
Let's listen to police stories.
So in the city of Toppenish, every year they have what is called the abate. It's where several motorcycle riders get together. I think it's kind of a protest against helmets. I think that's what it is. I'm sure it's used for a lot more other
fuck helmets.
than that, because there's a lot of
agree.
1%er motorcycle clubs that show up to this from all over the place.
Right, and you got to see their faces so you can be more terrified. Helmet, you're not as terrified anymore.
First year I dealt with it, there was a quadruple homicide, an argument over who should be wearing whose colors. I mean, literally, like
Yikes.
over a color of fucking bandanas.
That's a pretty
And then
common human
Four
thing.
dudes got smoked at like 5 o'clock in the morning. They were asleep in their tent. But the thing just
Quadruple
went
homicide.
on. I mean, there was an investigation ish, and the abate continued. So
Okay.
that was kind of weird. But this is early 2000s.
I got to just real quick, I got to say, I know this story, and I want all of you guys to picture the brand new Dredd. Well, not brand new. It's, I guess, like probably 10 years old
Judge
now.
Dredd.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Judge Dredd, but it's just Dredd. Just picture that scenario, what he walks into, because that whole movie is a 2-act movie in this one place. Okay. Just saying.
Proceed.
In the front of your head.
Proceed.
Or the back.
So the abate used to be, it is typically held out in a county, in the county jurisdiction, out in fields and such. Well, the following year the fields flooded, so they're like, oh, well, let's have it at the fairgrounds, which was 2 blocks from the police department that I worked for. And
Location.
Let's have cotton candy at this thing where all the criminals are.
I mean, fairgrounds were big, but we're talking thousands of people show up to these things.
Nice.
And the fairgrounds are all fenced in, like any typical fairgrounds are. People just start setting up tents and, all their vendors and beer gardens and all the things that they do. And I had a coworker who he was a lieutenant actually for the agency, and he was in a little local like motorcycle riding club. And so he got the weekend off to be able to go hang out at that. So they were there early and got all set up in the fairgrounds. Well, he ends up in between 2 different 1%er motorcycle gangs where he's at, where they've got, 50 to 100 of each of these people, and his little camp is right in the middle. These are 2 motorcycle gangs that don't like each other. Mm-hmm. They've got beef. Bad fucking scenario. Well, a motorcycle member, a sergeant of arms from each club faction started to get into a fight.
Aren't sergeant of arms like cops? Aren't you supposed to be a cop in that scenario? Like on a boat, sergeant of arms like a cop.
No, it's their enforcer.
Yeah, you're the one
sergeant
who
of
kicks
arms
ass.
is the enforcer. Yeah. Shit. So anyway, they're about ready to get into a fight. So the cop I was working with decides he's going to I'm going to go make peace, because he'd been drinking. He wasn't really playing cop necessarily, but he was trying to avoid conflict because he's right in the fucking middle of it. I mean, I understand why he did what he did, but they turned on him and beat the shit out of him with a flashlight and just split his head open and everything. So we get a 911 call from his wife, and she's just like, he's been hurt. You guys need to come here and get him. And that's all we know. We don't know where he's at. This place is fucking packed with thousands of people. And we were heavy that night.
Lots of people friendly to cops, I imagine.
Yeah. And we were heavy that night. We had 4 guys on working that night.
Oh, no.
So we all go in
you're
at
like
the entrance.
overstaffed.
Yeah. So we all go in at the
Odds are
entrance
in
trying
your
to
favor.
figure out where he's at, what the fuck's going on. And we know we're walking into just bad shit. So I'm getting out. I'm grabbing my AR. I'm grabbing my shotgun. And the other 3 guys are like, no, dude, you're not going to need that. I'm like, fuck that. I'm bringing it.
I'm walking in
so
looking
I'm strapped
like the Punisher.
in. I'm strapped in.
Or not at all.
I am armed to the best of my ability. And we're in there and we're looking for him. Finally, the wife found us and drug us back to where he was at. And we're trying to get him out. He's hurt. We're trying to get him out. We're starting to get surrounded by the 2 motorcycle gangs. And my friend was being difficult on top of it. He's injured. He's drunk. The whole deal. He's being a fucking human being, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we're having to deal with getting his ass out. Now we're getting surrounded. Well, the next thing we know, they've locked us in.
That's the
They're
Judge
afraid that
Dredd
they're
part.
going to get in trouble for hurting him. They've figured out that he's a cop now. And now we're in there surrounded and got to get him out. And they've locked us in.
Yeah, that's logical. Make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Good call, boys.
Well, we're already fucked. Might as well burn everything down.
So, and we were locked in just trying to keep the peace and keep people back for close to 2 hours. We had agencies coming from Yakima to Tri-Cities, which is about a 85 to 90 mile stretch, come and surround that whole place. And my chief ended up talking to somebody, I don't know who the somebody was that he talked to, but ultimately negotiating them to open up the gate.
Nice. What were the range of thoughts that you had during that 2 hours?
I didn't have enough bullets to kill everybody. I knew I was going to die.
You'd already counted.
I fucking knew I was going to die. Yeah.
Really?
So, fast forward. When you're in that, you're like, thank God we're out. Fuck, that sucked. Oh my God, that was intense. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Plus, there was a whole lot of internal shit going on because of that incident that was just not, it wasn't good for the department. And I don't fault my friend. He was just having fun, but a bad thing happened, so it's looked on a lot worse when law enforcement's involved.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything wrong, but he was there and,
Negative optics.
Yeah, hanging out with, motorcycle gangs. Well, that's not really what he was trying to do, but it's definitely what happened.
Right.
So, about, I think it was 2 years later, I was also a gang expert in my career.
A gangspert, if you will.
A gang expert in my career, and I was actually at a training where one of the instructors ended up talking about this incident, and he had said, he was talking about, he was there undercover, so he couldn't do anything, but he said he couldn't count how many times guns were pointed at us that we couldn't even see. Somebody could have taken us out at any fucking second, and nobody would have known who would have done it. So
Yeah. That's why the dread. That's
Yeah.
that scenario in that movie where it's like they get locked into this, it's a big apartment complex, like a super futuristic one. But it's a drug, it's criminals. It's a big criminal one where it's all the criminals in that town or that sector get locked into
I'm
this
still
one
not going to
spot.
watch it. That.
Fucking goddamn it. Do you know who Carl Urban is?
No.
What do you mean you don't know who Carl Urban is?
I don't. Do I need to say it slower for you?
Please say that you don't know who.
I don't know.
Okay.
Enunciate.
Actually, when I think about
Carl.
it, Carl. I think Carl might be in all the cool movies that you wouldn't like. He's
Well,
in Lord of the Rings.
Here's
He's
the
in
deal:
Riddick.
if
He's
we
in-
get people slinging us some shekels on Patreon, then we're going to sit you down and make you react to Judge Dredd, and you have no choice.
yes,
Yeah, make sure there are no weapons inside.
you will like it. You will think it's cool.
Judge Dredd. I don't know. Maybe
It's
I
just
get it,
Dredd,
but-
not Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd has Sylvester Stallone. It's a little campy, okay? It's pretty good. It's pretty
a little
good still.
campy.
It's a little campy, especially for people's taste nowadays. But still a great movie.
Dude, have you seen Sylvester Stallone lately?
Oh,
Oh my God!
Was
dude.
in this-
Like he's just so okay. So he's a husky boy.
How
now.
hot would you like him to be in his 70s?
Well,
hold
but
on.
it's the behavior that's unattractive. All right.
Shaiden's not a shallow man. Hold on.
He's a husky boy, and he's still riding that fucking martial arts expert train, even though he's clearly not. I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of laurels he's trying to rest on. It's like it's so painfully obvious
Who's
to
this?
see that he does. Sylvester Stallone.
He's martial arts trained?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Or wait, no, I'm confusing. You're talking about Sly, not Sylvester Stallone. He's fine.
See?
Okay.
I'm talking about
leave Sly alone.
You're right.
motherfucker.
You're right. No, I was thinking of
Position stands.
I was thinking of God, what's his fucking
Van
name?
Damme.
He's like
Seagal.
He's Seagal.
Okay.
Yeah. Stallone, Seagal. Come on,
yeah. They are light years apart, but so very
Same
similar.
amount of syllables.
Yeah,
My
that's
brain's
the main
dumb
thing.
sometimes. Anyway, Seagal. Ugh.
Oh man, I had some
Always been cringy, but like I watched a video of him like giving like a
It's pretty bad.
demonstration, and I was like,
Dude, let's take a minute to talk about Steven Seagal, shall we? On this here episode,
Sure.
did you know that he's a law enforcement officer? Did you know that?
I saw some of his episodes on the television.
Okay.
And, on reality TV, and it seemed, I don't know, I just like, oh, this must be fucking staged, but
Is that what it
so
felt
is Shaquille O'Neal.
Right. Did
That
you
would
know-
stop any argument, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm not fucking with Shaq.
Listen, I said
No,
stop
just-
fighting.
Yeah, just the fact
Okay,
that he
Shaq.
showed up.
It's not- yeah, like, oh, can I have your autograph? Oh yeah, I'll go to jail immediately. Fuck yeah, just sign my ass.
It's like
I'll
the
get
guy they
arrested
bring
by
out
you.
to fight Achilles in the beginning of Troy.
Yeah.
Just this man. You're like, actually, we don't want to have a war anymore.
We're done. Let's get Shaquille O'Neal. He can't shoot free
What was
throws,
his
but he'll
name?
kick my ass.
Trying to remember that guy's name.
Which guy?
The guy they called out.
Oh,
Something
fucking,
Agrius.
Yeah, it was Boagrius. Boagrius.
But Steven Seagal, not only, I mean, I don't know if it's like he got the badge from Candy Machine or something, but it doesn't seem like it because he was on that show, and that's all. TV is
Imagine getting
legit.
pulled over.
He
by
probably
fucking
was a
Steven Seagal.
reserve or something for
I
an
would
agency.
I would not
He's
take
like,
that serious.
listen, I pulled you over because you were speeding. I've definitely speeded way better than you in the past, but nevertheless, you were speeding, and you're gonna have to go down.
And he pulls you out and Aikidos your ass. You're like,
Just
starts
unnecessarily
flipping you.
aggressive.
Yeah, just all these flips, flippity flip. But he also plays guitar, and he's actually and sings. He's got like multiple albums, and I think we need to when we start Patreon, I think we should pull together a reaction video to a Steven Seagal music video.
The legend of Steven
That'd be
Seagal.
outstanding.
Yeah.
I think you guys would be impressed by his guitar chops, and I mean, music's hard, and it might be a little. I would say
No, it's not, Zach. Come now.
He makes it look pretty easy, I'll tell you that. But yeah, it's kind of like I looked at the music the same way I look at the movies, where you're like, there's all sorts of things there. Like the guy that lit these scenes is probably very talented. He's probably in Star Wars or some shit. Who knows? The guy that cut the tape is probably badass. The people that hired but the acting part of this is like, I don't know. And that's kind of like with the song, where you're like, the
You just
music's good,
described
the drummer's
every
great.
movie that Steven Seagal's ever been in, bro.
I know.
Everything you just said.
Well, that's his music as well. But it's kind of bluesy and it's interesting. He's an interesting fucking dude.
He strikes me as that friend that just is like so deeply insecure that they're always trying to impress you with bullshit. Like they're just compulsively making shit up. You're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, this one time I jumped off of a 200-foot cliff into a pond the size of a fucking basketball.
But Steven Seagal's the guy that goes out and does that. He's like, I did it on the weekend or some
Does
shit.
he?
No, I guess not your scenario, but playing guitar well and having 900 guitars. That's his thing. I don't know.
All right.
I think what I'm saying is next week's episode is a deep dive, part 1 of 7, into Steven Seagal and his filmography. I think, and we'll have a guest for those of you guys that listen to Dave and Angus show. Angus will be on the show as well because that's his favorite actor.
We'll reach out to Mr. Seagal. We'll see if
He'll be on the
he
show.
wants to-
Fuck yeah, he'll be on the show.
We'll give you dates when we confirm the interview.
Okay, he might probably won't be on the show. All right,
Anyway,
so
So anyway, sorry to Sylvester Stallone. I actually love him. That was
he's
my-
doing
my
great
bad,
and a
bro.
good writer. And you
Yeah.
know what? He found his lane and he fucking crushed it. That guy. I like Stallone.
Just sold his house.
Just what?
Sold his house.
Did he?
Yeah.
For $10 gajillion?
A lot of money.
Yeah, good for him.
yeah.
I don't care, except for I wish
bet
he would
all
loan me
the,
like
all
some.
the sex that he had in it probably really helped his property value.
I wonder if that's a thing. It's like
I can't remember who he
the
sold
shallow,
it to now.
the shallow real estate people are like, well, he dated her and her and her, and they're like, what room
and they
were
probably
you
fucked
in?
right here. and
That
here.
raises the value $40,000 for that lamp. Just so you know.
To the right person.
It would.
see it.
for sure would. OnlyFans is proof of that. Fuck, normal folk get like panties for that's $7,000
Doesn't
panties.
seem so weird. And now you're talking about on last episode that
The NFT
NFT
Web3
world.
shit.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck.
Why not? We're not
At least
going
it's a
to.
tangible item.
We're not going to recognize
Jeff's
the
like,
world.
a whole new
That's how I feel too. Half of me is like, God damn, bro, what the hell planet is this going to be one day when we wake up? We're going to be like, God damn, everything's got a digitized version of itself that I can see right when I wake up. Is that good for me?
I don't know. Probably not.
All right, so let's move along. That was your story. That's one of my favorite stories. I don't know, just being in that scenario. I don't have the bravery, I don't think. I mean, you'd have to figure it out. You'd either fight, flight, feast, fuck, or whatever the other F thing is you do.
It's pretty.
Feed. Well, that's what feasting. Feed, fuck.
It's a pretty gnarly story, bro. But I almost
Fight,
got
flight,
killed by
feed,
my
fuck.
appendix, you know. So
Shaiden's insides almost murdered.
Dude, I almost died from my big toe. So I mean,
True.
you fucking did, and that
Yeah.
sketches me out to this
Yeah.
day.
I'm gonna
That shouldn't
trip-
be allowed to be a malfunction that kills you.
I am
That's
so
my
going
fault.
to like trip,
Yeah.
putting on my sock, hit my head on the cat, and die of a concussion.
No.
He died from hitting his head on his pussy too hard.
You will be remembered as such.
At the end of my life, pussy will be what kills me.
Well, you will have deserved that, I believe. All right, let's move along to this is something that you and I, Jeff and I, have had a conversation about a lot. I'm very interested to hear what you think, Strayed. And
Me?
You, sir.
Okay.
But I
don't have a thought between these ears.
Not usually,
I'm
but
just pretty and dumb.
I'm hopefully we're going to fucking milk something out of them ears. I have this theory. Like, I like hard work. I am a person that I'm a workaholic. I like to go out and try and earn money.
Nerd.
I like to, I am. But I also feel like there should be a safety net for people that can't work, that have no fault of their own. We should definitely be the best at making those people have a nice life and not have to eke shit out, I think.
We're talking medically is what we're...
All that,
More
but people that,
specifically.
yeah, exactly. We talked about the safety net last episode and where I sit with that. But I have this theory that, just like I think everyone thinks that if you can work, you should work probably. Nobody should free ride their lives. You don't, get to just because you don't like the system any more than anybody else. But my point is that some people shouldn't work. And I'm okay with subsidizing those people to not touch my food, to not be responsible for cleaning anything at all, for not being responsible.
to not get involved.
To not. I mean, I can't even. There's people in my life that
Because I know specifically
the person
who we
the inspiration.
are just the inspiration of this conversation,
archetype.
which has been for the last 5 years.
It's me, isn't it?
You're very
God
close.
damn it. I'm
Close.
sitting
You are-
right here, guys.
You are so close, you don't even know.
You have some similar talents and skills as this person, but
God damn it. Figures.
actually, I'll flat out say his name. Just kidding. But no, there's a musician in our life that there's a few musicians actually in my life that I would say I would not want just that, to touch anything, to put the paint on the street, to where they were to measure it out properly. It's like
That's
there's
why
not
they're
a,
musicians, bro.
and
There's
not
always-
saying that that's an easy job either. There are no.
Didn't we determine that there's at some point everybody finds a passion and a value, or it's in there somewhere? You just got to find
everybody
it.
has the potential for.
But what if people
becoming
don't also
passionate
like?
about
What if they don't? What if people don't resonate with their passion too?
Well, a lot
So
of people
this
do
artist
jobs
also
that they
sucks.
don't like,
Right.
and some of them do jobs that are not even fucking good at.
Right. But this person I don't want, and many people like them, I don't want to have any job because no matter what, they're going to be like, their vitriol towards humanity will come out in some weird way that will manifest, even if they're
go survey caterpillars or something.
somehow the
What if they're-
caterpillars will be
What if they're a garbage man?
sexually violated or
Yeah,
a garbage
come
man
and
is
go into your
is
dad's
a super
house.
responsible job. Absolutely not. There's a whole bunch of things that go with garbage man duties that are like, you have to have a high
No,
responsibility.
you just have to fucking dump the can
Just
in the
digging-
truck.
no.
Digging ditches, something.
That's not these people. The people I'm talking about, the person I'm talking about, I would not trust with a truck and a machine that holds a claw that can
But the
move
same person
garbage.
that we're talking
No.
about is specifically the person that I'm like, this is why sometimes it's okay to kill people. So
That's on the table. Sometimes we can discuss this, but there's
So
going to be a
this
lot
is-
of people that are going to say no. We'll get
So Jeff's
outvoted.
opinion is we will go to great lengths to make sure you have some place to fit in our society. And if you still can't find a place, thanks for playing.
Get the fuck out of our game. Well, that might be a little bit harsh. So I was
Is it?
going to ask,
I was
like,
just
what do
going
we
to say
do?
send them all to a big island like Australia.
That sounds fair.
That's what they
But
did
that's-
before.
that's
Worked
all-
out
again,
great.
we're
Yeah,
not
right.
solving a problem. Like, my solution. We're just taking it and making it someone else's fucking problem.
But then it turns into a place that has pretty good beer and a kick-ass accent and a bunch of wallabies.
And a bunch of really moral people. Like their chitrons turned out to be pretty moral. Australia is, one of the safer places on earth, right? You could leave your car unlocked in 3 out of 27 places.
I think the
there.
last 3 horror movies I've actually paid to go see over the last 15 years were real life stories out of Australia. So
really,
it kind of shapes my. I still want to go. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, don't fuck that. I'd risk that.
It's hostile.
All
from
the
there?
things that want to kill you just to go to Australia.
I think it's super interesting that like the whole middle of Australia is.
I like the
fucking
Aborigine
awful.
thing.
Right.
It's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Can't
It's
live
like
there.
it's all nice around the edges, but in the middle, it's like nope, fuck that. There's nothing good there.
Death.
Yeah,
It's probably a lot of resources that we could mine the shit out of.
typical American.
Fucking
dude.
mine
Let's
that
go
shit.
get the oil.
Get the oil. Get the coal and the fucking copper. And the dingo ass.
The lithium. I bet there's lithium.
Or
there.
dingo ass. I mean, I think dingo ass is kind of
Dingo ass is
underrated
probably
in
a
the energy.
suitable replacement for lithium. We just haven't tried it yet.
We haven't. And that's what I think the Australians have been trying to say for a long time. They're like, crocky! And that means try the dingo ass. I don't know if that's true or not.
It's a rough translation.
You guys let us know. We have Australian listeners. You guys let us know if I'm on the mark there. Some people shouldn't work. This person shouldn't work. Because if they touch your food, maybe you'll get clean food if they touch it.
It shouldn't be in the service industry. I'll go with that.
Or any industry that deals with people.
That's the service industry.
That's the goods and service industry. All goods, too. If they're responsible for making goods.
So, all right,
How about
steel man
construction?
this now,
Fuck
Jack.
no, construction.
Hey,
Giving them tools
Listen,
and streets.
I understand you have
screws.
strong feelings about this.
Okay.
All right, I want you to steel man it for me.
Okay. All right.
You can't think of one specific job that a person like this could do.
Let's see. No, because any kind of job.
Zach says this,
any
but
kind of
really,
job-
Zach has just kind of done his own thing his whole life.
Okay, throwing some shade at the Zach. I get it. I've worked some jobs. I've had
You worked at Best Buy.
I did at Best Buys and
He
Barnes
didn't
and
give
Nobles.
2 weeks notice though.
Yeah, could he really fuck up anything at Barnes and Nobles?
Oh yeah, I'm a menace to that company. They don't want me back. I was a Nook salesman, bro.
I mean, he's
I threw
not
down. The
spending
reason
anybody's
you've
food.
never heard of a Nook, my bad. Sorry about that. No, what I'm saying is that the person that I'm talking about is a nihilist to the point of they don't like humanity, and they would sabotage ma and pa businesses because their paycheck isn't what they think they deserve, or they're the people that would spit in your food for minor transgressions. You know, he is the kind of person that would wipe his ass with your cell phone so that you can take it into the bathroom and enjoy it. You know,
But I believe that in incarceration, he's a pretty good trustee.
in what?
While in incarceration, he's a pretty good trustee.
Probably. He's a good prisoner, you're saying?
Yeah, if he's being babysat, he works really well.
Okay. So you're saying we should throw him in jail?
Some people just need that kind of supervision.
He's not going
in their
to.
life.
Okay.
Some people can develop
guess I
their
asked for
structure.
this.
Listen,
Hey, we're going in a positive direction. He
Some-
started at kill him.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, now we've upgraded to prison. So we're getting.
Sha-la-la.
Jeff is growing right before our
warm.
eyes.
some people in this world can, develop their own structure, and some people literally need to be told what their structure is, but they'll do what they're told
So we need
in that
kings.
structure. Within within
Maybe.
that structure.
So-
and he's one of those people that in that structure, minus chemicals, does very well.
Do you think if we didn't have the safety
And I-
nets
and I
we
know
have,
that to
he
be-
would still be that way?
Zach, I'm not talking shit.
know.
I know that to be true. Actually.
What?
What I just said about this person.
Oh, yeah. I know
So-
you do. Yeah. You know him pretty well. What did you ask? I'm sorry.
I said, do you think that if we didn't have the safety nets that we have, he would still be that kind of person?
I don't know. That's a good question. If it was more robust, would he be that
have
way? Or
either
if he...
changed out of necessity or died because he didn't have
I think
a
that
way to fucking just be a fucker and
I think he's more
survive?
apt to change because of necessity. Because again, a community that has high standards, the people will have high standards to be in that community.
Yeah, and humans adapt real fast. Even when they don't want to, they'll be like, oh, fuck, this is what I have to do now.
And it doesn't all have to be about this guy, because I don't actually know who you guys are talking about, but I can picture at least 6 people that fit the bill. So, I don't know. Some people are just fuckwads. I mean, some people are just wired different, right? Like,
Yeah. I wrote it down on a piece of
You
paper.
wrote it on a piece of paper.
So that you could see it.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking, he's all like underwhelmed. Son of a bitch.
Well, I mean,
the guy's a cunt.
he is a cunt, but, you know, I don't know. I've met worse cunts.
Not me.
But he is. We just, and I should say, this
I just
isn't
don't want him
just a
touching
gossip
food.
session about one dude.
I don't want him working at McDonald's either.
Yes, no
dude. I'm
food.
with you
It's
on
not like a bunch of hens talking shit about one guy, but that's not really what
No,
it's an archetype
it's an
of a
archetype
person.
yep.
He's just the best example to draw from because everything
I tried
fucked
to move
up.
it away. Zach wouldn't let it go.
Everything fucked up about
notes
this.
in class.
Clandestine notes.
Everything fucked up about this person. He represents everything we're talking about.
Yes.
However,
he is an archetype.
his ass can still go to work.
he's-
I know.
okay.
I know a structure that he does well in.
He's one of
You're
those
right.
people that is like a real life cartoon character, and like you're right when you say he's an archetype. That's what I mean. Like I'm like now that I'm in the know, I'm like yeah, I could think of at least 6 other people off the top of my head that like fall right in that same category.
Yes, that's
you know? So,
he's just a good version of it. Where it's like, imagine him making a burrito for you.
well,
Imagine him having to clean up some stuff that's important. If it's not clean, it gets people
And I know.
sick
By
later.
the way,
You
I know
will get-
women
you'll
like
get
this
sick.
too. So
Yeah, this is a human
it's not
archetype.
just a man
yeah.
thing.
Absolutely. The integrity is 0. That's what it is. The integrity is 0%, and I don't think that society deserves 0% integrity in the workforce. Maybe 1%. We probably deserve that.
But the best that society should
0%
be
no.
expected to do is try to help, not take care of, unless it's again like the qualifications for medical issues and stuff like that.
Will you ask
We can
me-
try to help him.
Well, you asked me what job would you asked me, but what job would you say that he's capable of? What's the path you send this archetype down?
Oh, he's putting in new roads for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's in charge of things that get hot, things that flatten things.
He's probably going to be charged with a shovel.
A shovel? That's fucking dude, that's wood.
Everybody else has
metal,
You know what?
pointy pieces.
Okay,
Just
if
looking at
you're
me
in,
like, come on, man.
yeah, you're kind of that's your.
Pointy pieces.
Be realistic.
You think, hey, let's give this guy pointy pieces.
Yeah,
Wood
everybody
and
else has
metal.
a pointy piece. Maybe they'll hit him
That
first,
gets him in a lot of
and
trouble. in
then
first.
we go back to my solution, and it worked out. So
You're right. So you're just setting him up to be killed in prison, is what you're saying. Okay,
sometimes you help people, or you give them just enough rope to hang themselves with, and you let them decide.
fine. All right. Well,
Metaphorically, of course.
yes, of course. Well, all right. So you would say everyone works. There are no people that, besides the people
not
that.
what I said.
Oh, well, what?
Yeah, okay, you were qualifying, but yes, except for obviously the people that we deem worthy of taking care of.
Yeah, through no fault of their own.
Right.
This
But
person,
if you're a cunt, fuck you. Do a job,
But
be less of a cunt.
through no fault of his own or their own, this person is a cunt that is like furious with society.
You know what the fuck? No, people are they're a bunch of sissies that don't want to work hard for what they got. I was at the gym the other day. I startled this dude because, and I didn't know.
You startle me all the time.
He was, this guy,
I'm startled
Yeah,
currently.
see?
this guy's in the gym, big dude, blind, has some issue with his eyes, lost his sight 15 years ago. He's like, yeah, back at the time I was, 300 pounds, and now this guy's probably 6'5", 6'6", about 260, probably 10% body fat. Like, he works out, he takes care of himself. He started 2 businesses in the last 3 years, both are doing good. It's like, this guy has lost one of his major senses. And yeah, I'm sure I went through my time of, feeling sorry for myself about it. But goddamn, he got off his ass and fixed his life. Why can't more people just do that?
I don't know.
It's not as fucking hard as it seems, but we keep allowing people in society to just, well, he's just that way, so we're not gonna. I don't want to give him a job. Fuck
You're right.
that.
You're
Make
right.
him change. Make them change.
We don't
Be
know
different.
we don't know what we're capable of
Society needs
But we're
to force
afraid
people to be more accountable.
to
period.
test it.
Sorry.
Yeah. I basically you and I have had this conversation about this person for years because it's funny to me. Because it's funny. Because I can't imagine this person being useful
No.
to society.
Well, again,
besides art. The art's good.
Which is why I come up with my, original solution.
Right.
Just with that, like that total archetype, exactly what you are. It's like what you.
Soylent Green.
You, even your art, really, you don't really produce anything to the world,
Oh shit!
and
The
your
fucking
art, and your art's not enough. Sorry.
Yeah, it's probably not. It's probably not.
Not
But
if
who's to say?
you're a fucking asshole to everybody that comes into your path, and you literally go out of your way to try to destroy everyone
Right.
that doesn't do exactly what you want them to do because you're such a narcissistic fuck.
Right. So,
Just saying.
But that's the thing. I mean, narcissists are a very small percentage, and narcissists that are dangerous to society in like some psychopathic way, it's even a smaller percentage. So it's like, that's what I think this person is, and that's why I don't trust him with a food or a pointy thing or hot fucking, asphalt and other people.
And neither does anybody else. That's why he's not working in the service
But then again,
industry.
Or anywhere else at all. in
I still
general.
had the solution for
But I don't want
him.
him to die.
Well, he doesn't have to. He can work out really good being a trustee in jail because that's where he does well because everything's taken care of for him.
Right.
He gets his meals. He gets his hot showers. He gets his clothes. They occupy him by giving him a job that he has to go out and do every day.
Well, that's a problem.
That's structure that he can follow every
man,
day. But he can't do it on his own because nobody holds him to accountable or to any... Because everybody's like, well, it's just blah, blah, blah. It's just him. So...
Yeah.
And people like that tend to not be held to any standard. Everybody just goes... At some point, everybody just throws up their hands and goes, well, that's just how they are, so I guess we can't do anything, but,
I think
here's what you need.
Well, after 50
take,
tries,
boys,
I
hot
mean, what do you
take.
do?
I think some people really just need to get their ass kicked.
That's probably fair.
Fair enough, yeah.
That's pretty fair.
That's kind of where I
there's some
land.
That's some
value-
old school shit.
There's
right
value
there.
in losing fights.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had my ass kicked.
I
and
volunteer.
I've kicked ass a couple of times as well. And there's value in it as far as I'm concerned.
I'll volunteer to whip this guy's ass if you guys are down.
I would
It's
sell
fucking-
tickets to that. I think that would be funny.
I don't think it'd be very fair though.
I actually have some pretty good reason to, but
Yeah, you do.
yes, I do.
Fucking A. Okay, you do it. You do it.
I can now.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Sunday.
So anyway,
Getchell and
subscribe to our
douchebag Mickey.
Patreon.
Yeah,
and,
well.
maybe we'll beat up somebody that we don't like.
That's how we deal with things at the Reasonableness Party
Yeah,
with
that's how we
violence.
do it.
Strictly violent.
These
All
are
right.
the jokes, people.
Yes, they are. So some people shouldn't work. Wrong. Is that what you're saying? Would you say? As far as people that are capable of working, everybody should have a job in
Everybody needs
society.
to pull their weight in society for society to work.
Or you get to move out in the woods and then you don't have to, and you can't bitch, right?
But you know what?
Do
Guess what you're doing
something
all
of
the time?
value. I mean, you don't
Working
have
and
to.
taking care of yourself. That you are doing exactly what you don't want to do in society. So that's a whole different.
Might be
way
more
of-
fulfilling,
that's
too, out
okay.
in the woods,
I'm okay
yeah.
with that.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just do something. It doesn't have to be a conventional job. I don't give a fuck. Just contribute in some way.
Okay. So I'll admit that maybe my idea that some people shouldn't work is faulty, and that maybe even assholes that it will definitely 100% spit in your food every chance they get, no matter what, no matter who's watching, no matter how many cameras, should probably still be somewhere in the workforce.
Well, just cook your own food.
I agree. I was just being a dick for years and years about that conversation, and here I am being a dick on the air.
It's good. It's good to let
all right.
that shit out.
Fine.
You feel better.
I do feel better. I feel a little bit better. So now I want to ask Jeff, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Jeff's never going to grow up.
What do I want to be?
This is my attempt at a segue to our next thing about social indoctrination.
I just want to be myself, man. I just want to be myself.
Oh, tell us about yourself.
Why does it? So why do we do that? Why? We're always talking about indoctrination from the government and all this crap.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was thinking about like
True crap.
when you start talking to little kids. I mean, at what age we start asking them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Which kind of is a fucked up question. Obviously, we're meaning, hey, at 3 years old, what career is,
Right.
what career do you want to go into? You should have this figured out by
My answer
now.
to that
Wanna be
question
an eye
is
doctor,
I want
child?
to be a wizard, so I don't know if I can deal
But you know
with
what I'm
that.
saying? It's like
This helped us
and
not.
I was not joking
We as-
either.
He still wants to be a wizard. At least he might be.
we as citizens are still, in our daily lives, that's kind of indoctrination too. It's like we're not teaching people to be themselves. We're teaching people to understand that yourself doesn't work out in society the way you are. So we need to train you how you can actually fight against your instincts to live within society. And people are going to identify you, but by what profession you choose. So you need to start thinking about that now.
At 3.
yeah. So we can,
Orthodontist.
so we can, basically try to figure out who you are and any type of stereotypes or, common threads with your profession, so we know who you are.
It's like, give us a hint so we can start making fun
so
of you.
We're
putting
trying
you in a
to
box.
train you so you have no fucking idea who you are your whole life. And we do that as society, and society blames it on schools and governments and all that, which is all true. But where does it start at? Does it start in our ideas because of religion or just societal rules? Does it start from the government and trickle down? Do we push it up?
I think it has to start from Judeo-Christian values, because our government and our major religions are founded on that. So definitely most of Western culture is steeped in that.
I think it's kind of, there's a lot of, the more I think about it, the more facets I see in this, because there's probably an element of, well, it was done to me, and so you have to go through it too.
I turned out fine.
All the time.
Like,
I do
pay
it.
it
I did it the
forward.
other day.
I think it's also partially adults find like it's fun to imagine what a kid might turn out to be, and so like getting their input, and then it gives you some fuel. Oh, I wonder what they would be like if they grew up and did that. So part of it's just a fun little game for adults.
I'm almost disappointed if they don't give me an answer like a wizard. If they come up with like a real profession, I mean, you can pretty much expect one of like four. Nurse, doctor, police, fire, because that's kind of shoved in kids' faces. The police not so much anymore, because if you want to be the police, you're automatically a bad people. But that's just shoved in your face.
Based on my experience, that checks out.
Yeah, probably.
But I want to hear they want to be a
for
wizard.
one.
But I don't know if it makes a difference or not. But so many people, they live their lives just like, I want to be myself, but I don't even really know who I am. Well, we caused that, just by the way that society communicates.
Well, then there's a very distinct difference, and it's always fascinating to me when adults get asked who they are. It's like, who are you? The response is either your name, which is not who you are, that's what you're called, or, well, these are the things that I do. Okay, that's what you occupy your time with. That's not who you are. Who are you? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what it comes down to.
When you really start-
for most people.
Deep-rooted beliefs and principles. Yeah, a lot of people, again, we see in society, nationwide, the problem with that is people don't really take time to figure out what their actual own principles are. They just kind of go along with things that are being said a lot of times. I think that, I think I've even had it happen in my life where I've sat down and thought about things and go, I don't really feel that way. I've always said this, but I really don't feel that way.
Comes from society.
I need to stop doing that.
Our personalities are way more contextual than we want to admit. Like, free will is really kind of loosely fitting a human beings, because context, like right now, our personalities are in the context of the three of us who know each other pretty well, who are here to do a certain thing and talk about a certain thing. We won't be the same if we go to Albertsons and talk to the person that that's checking us in. The context of our personality will be more reserved, or maybe not reserved, and that throws them off, and then we're uncomfortable for the day.
Depends on how cute they are.
All right. How awkward do you want to be that day? It depends on the attractiveness of the person.
How much of my foot do I want to place into my mouth this evening?
But context and society is what creates the context of what we are remembered as, what our personality is. Because what we think about ourselves doesn't matter. It matters 100% to us, but it doesn't matter at all to what society sees us as. That's not our reputation. Our reputation is what our actions are amalgamated into what people have seen from us.
Less than that, our reputations are what somebody else said our actions were, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, it very much can be, which is part of the injustice of all this crap.
So I know that the two of you, just by virtue of having known both of you for years on a personal level, I know that the two of you have spent not an insignificant amount of time exploring yourselves, in the pursuit of trying to refine who and what you are. But do you think you could really quantify that in words? Like, if I said, tell me who you are, Zach.
No.
Do you think you could?
I would be foolish sounding if I had tried, I think.
I don't think I could. I've spent a lot of time being introspective and going deep into myself.
I can tell you my opinions.
All the holes.
Didn't mean for that to sound dirty, but it sounded dirty when it came out, and I'm juvenile sometimes.
I can tell you my opinions of things based on, whatever learnings or principles that I have, but it which would be somewhat defining of me or where I stand on something. But if you ask me who I was, there's no general answer to that.
Right.
It's too complex.
I think that showing who you are is the only way to communicate that, and it's not something that's just simply done in a single interaction.
Right.
And sometimes it's not done throughout the course of an entire year's worth of friendship, like several years.
Do you ever really know who you are? I mean, you consistently change,
well,
too.
It's a constantly evolving thing, I think, for sure. But there's got to be some core spark, right? Like, there's got to be something at the very core of Jeff that is Jeff. It's in essence, it's ode to Jeff.
But how do you describe it without sounding silly, where it becomes a concept or a thing that he does? It's Jeff the cop, Jeff the wise. It's none of these things.
Society gave me Jeff the cop,
Shaiden
and I
the
have to live with
wizard.
that the rest of my life, so I may as well run with it. So.
What'd you say, Shaiden the rude?
Shaiden the wizard. But rude is also true.
Shaiden the shrewd. Prude? Shaiden the prude.
Shaiden the prude.
That's never been said.
But that's what I'm saying.
Hey, now.
Society gave me that tag.
Yeah.
Because I chose to go that route, which is just weird.
But that's what I'm
But
saying.
that's not
like,
how you would describe yourself.
It was just a part of my life. It was the purpose that I did it is way more defining than what I actually did.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
but knowing that about you, knowing that you were a cop and you were a cop for a long period of time, and I've gotten you to know you well enough to know reasons why you chose to do that for as long as you did. All of those are indicators that point towards who you are to me.
Right.
Because you didn't just go, oh, I'm just going to do this for no reason. You had reasons for doing what you did, and those reasons came from some deeper part of you that's a lot closer to the core of who you are. So being able to be discerning and pay attention to those things in others, but also in yourself, is an excellent place to start if you're really trying to zero in on who you are. Spend time observing the things that you do, and don't take them for granted. Look at them critically and go, why did I do that? Where did that come from? What drives me to do this thing that I do? Like, if you're a fucking musician, or if you are a mechanic, why do you do that shit? And spend time trying to be truthful and answer those questions for yourself, and you'll learn a fuckload. I have.
Yeah. Similar. I remember when I was younger, I grew up, I told you guys a little bit about my mom and my history with her, and my dad and her relationship led to a bunch of lying. My mom lied to my dad all the time. And whether it was natural, biological in me, or just part of growing up in that system or whatever, family. And with those
familial system.
Yeah, familiar. I'm very cold about it. I don't look at it as familiar. It's familiar. I wonder if I remember catching myself, like, I wasn't a big liar. Like, I got this elaborate story. It was all these little white lies where it was just to shine. I was an only child, so I'm like, please like me. I also have, I have a Nintendo 5. And they're like, what's a Nintendo 5? I'm like, I don't know anymore. Why'd I say that? But I remember when I was like, I don't like that about myself.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking about it, and it was like what you were saying, was trying to convince my subconscious, like, stop that. Like,
Do you ever
why
tell
are you
a white lie for so long that you just kind of incorporated it?
Yes.
And you're like, no, that's it.
Yeah.
Like for
the rest of my life, I
yeah.
have to remember that shit. Yeah, man. When I was young, I would do that to myself all the time, and I'd be like, I need new friends so I can become clean.
And it's like nothing of any consequence either. You're just like, well, I have to be consistent. So
it's just something stupid. Yeah. And I think everybody's done that in their life about something.
Yeah. I think when we grow up, we realize our parents are fucking real people that fart, and we also realize that
you lie for two reasons, right?
That lying is a point you're not smart enough to lie for very long, right? A big lie.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted.
I know, we all think we can do it.
You lie to make yourself look better and or boast on something, or you lie to keep things at an even keel.
Get out of trouble.
Yeah. And a lot of times that line on about things to keep things on an even keel, that can be created. That, like in relationships, I've watched that be created by a spouse who is unjustly, like, untrusting, that will cause the other person to lie about everything because they never know if they're going to be in trouble.
Right.
So, in fact, I actually went through that with one of my exes.
We play some weird mind games with each other when you get real deep into it, and it's like, man, I didn't think you were that sophisticated of a mind fucker, but here you are, just working at Wendy's, but you are a fucking mind fuck goddamn PhD.
By virtue of things that I have experienced thus far in my life, the moment I feel like I'm catching a whiff of somebody playing a game with me, even if it's not something of huge consequence, I'm like, okay, I'm done now.
Yeah, dude. That's where I'm
done.
too.
If you're gonna play games with me, then my answer is I will not play.
You respect me
And
0%.
you may fuck off.
Yeah.
You have my permission to fuck off away from me now.
Seriously. Yeah. But that's because we spent time doing that ourselves. It's like, well, I wasn't trustworthy in that point. I wasn't worth shit. So I don't know. All right. So social indoctrination is what I wrote down for this. And basically, like, where did this come from? Where did the idea of what do you want to be when you grow up? Why do we think like that? I think was what we were initially.
Yeah, and I think
going
it's
with
I guess it's the basic structure of the American dream of this is how you live your life. You go to school, and then you go to college, and then you get married, and then you buy a house, then you have 2.5 kids, and you drive a car, and then you work a job, and then you retire, and then
that was really only a
fucking
couple
die.
generations, huh? The American dream was like a concept that happened during the 20th century, and it kind of it hasn't fizzled.
Yeah, I mean, I
but
don't
it's
remember.
evolved
I don't imagine like, the Croods. Caveman. That's
Right.
an awesome show, by the way.
Yeah.
Going, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? I mean,
Right.
live.
Yeah. Not be eaten by that saber-toothed tiger.
Do you think we as adults, and particularly as parents, do that shit with kids, and it's born out of a desire to try and set them up to succeed in that system?
I don't
Where
think it's
like,
intent-
let's start thinking
Yeah.
about what maybe you might be interested in, so I can try to move the pieces on the board the best I can to set you up
Yes.
for it.
That's got to be it.
I'll say this: I don't think it's meant to be negative. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just find it interesting
Yeah.
that. I mean,
it can become negative in certain cases for sure.
it could,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I do think that it could be encouraging, or it is a way to see how a kid's mind works, or
Not when they're a fucking wizard, but I want to be a fireman and a policeman. So
again,
they're
you know
like,
that he's probably
Imagine my chagrin when I got to a certain age and found out there is no wizard college.
yeah,
Harry Potter is full of shit.
God damn it!
Did I tell the wizard story with the kids?
I'm not sure. Here on this show, or in general to us.
In general, to us.
I don't know. The wizard story. That must
It's
be
not
recently.
ringing any bells in
Yeah,
my
so
belfry.
I took my girlfriend's kids up to the mountain and took them to my bear baits.
Okay.
On one of the bear baits, there's a tree that I always call the
used
wizard
them as
tree.
bear
Oh, yeah, you
baits?
told me.
Is that what you mean?
You've seen the wizard tree on
Yeah.
Stump.
Mhm. Yep.
And it's this hollowed out tree because it was hit by lightning. Looks like a big wizard. And it goes up probably 70 feet, but the top is like gone.
Yeah, it's a cool ass tree.
Anyway, I had this whole story that a wizard lives in the tree, and then I tried to give him a secret knock.
You
to
fucking
go.
liar.
Yeah, did I
You
tell you
lied
that?
to those children.
I did. I totally lied to them.
Tell-
It was so much fun.
You got to finish the story
So
now.
I'm like, you got to knock
That's part
3
of
times.
children's.
Go hoo-da-hoo, hoo-da-hoo. Of course, they wouldn't do it. So I'm like, oh, I got to go pee. So this tree is huge. So I went around the back side of it. Well, as soon as I left, one of them got the courage. Hoo-da-hoo, hoo-da-hoo. So there's holes underneath the tree where I was at. So I started talking as the wizard. And it sounded like I was like up in the top of the tree, I guess, coming up. So I guess their eyes just got big as dinner plates, and they were just shocked. So we had some whole conversation.
You
I
threw him
ended
back
up being a nudist,
couple
and that's
years.
why I couldn't come down, because it was inappropriate for me to be naked in front of kids.
Hey, there was a valuable life lesson.
But they're like,
in there, too.
man,
Learned a little anatomy.
you know.
That's
And
awesome.
they're like, oh my God, we talked to the wizard. I'm like, oh, I missed it. Yeah, they're like, where were you? I'm like, I was down there peeing.
I was peeing for a really long time. Like a suspiciously long time.
5 years later, they're like, wait a minute.
I've never seen those two together.
Fucking wizard. Well, that's fun. All right, so our shit comes from, we don't know. We didn't figure that out. Social indoctrination. Why do we care about directing chitrons into the future? 'Cause,
partially good intentions, I'm
yeah.
sure. But
I mean, yeah, I guess we are trying to guide people to live in society, which I do understand, but it's something about it just struck me as odd that we do that, and I'm not saying it's good or it's bad.
Right. Well, the positive side of it is, I mean, I would want to get our education system more along the lines of countries that do a really good job at it, or societies that do a good job at it. Finland, Japan, Scandinavian countries in general. Basically, they find people maybe through this, maybe through the opposite, of asking them like, hey, you like Tinker Toys? You like widgets? You know, and they're like, yeah. Do you like math or do you like Shakespeare? No. All right, let's go this direction. And then every year they go a little further into the trade schools and stuff like that. So I mean, part of it is like, hey, little kid, can you make parenting easier for me? What do you like? What do you like, you little shit? But problem is they're like, oh, I've only seen the Cartoon Network. So what do I know?
As
I don't know. Maybe.
As somebody who's not a parent, I've thought about that possibility a lot, and like what the crazy challenges and all that shit might be, and that piece of it fucking terrifies me.
Setting him in the wrong direction or something.
Not necessarily that, but just like figuring out where to draw the line between, I don't want to take your childhood from you. I want to allow you to be a child, because that's fucking special. I think most people would agree that it's good to let a kid be a kid.
Yeah.
But where do you are you okay, but am I wasting time where I could be, helping them explore their potential?
Right.
But in so doing, I'm taking away some of their childlike wonder, because I can't do that without explaining some of the way the world really is to them.
I don't have a problem with that, honestly.
There's likely going to be therapy at the
Just
end
like,
anyway,
I'll fucking take their childhood away from them.
I will snatch away their dreams,
beat
like
them over the head with
reality.
I wish my parents would have forced something like piano lessons on me as a little kid, like they used to back in the day. And some
I was just going to say, I was kind of relating this to thinking about it. Well, I don't know. Were you pushed into sports, or did you already have a like for it?
No, my parents didn't push me into much. I just liked sports. Okay. But once I got good at sports, the push came, kind of early.
I mean, are girls pushed into ballet, or do they naturally want to go into ballet, or
if there's
gymnastics?
If there's only 3 or 4 options, they'll pick ballet, gymnastics, soccer, basketball. They'll just pick one, right? So
I don't know if they pick them.
Yeah, true, exactly. I don't know. I asked to be in Cub Scouts, but I only had the option of going home and jerking off, or going to Cub Scouts, or playing sports.
Well, they would have probably jerked you off at Cub Scouts, so...
that's part of the problem why I don't like Cub Scouts anymore, man. Come on, that hit hard. Hit home real good.
You just feel left out now.
Yeah, I miss those guys. We all went through a lot of trauma. Whoa. Anywho.
It's fine.
Here we are, getting dark again.
Yep. So I ran into a guy the other day who was bringing his daughter out to play flag football. There's a league out where I live.
I don't like what I said triggered whatever you're about to say.
No. We're just back on the sports thing and choosing. And this little girl obviously loves football, but he's like, I always wanted a boy. I think he had 5 daughters. He's like, I have 5 daughters. I got to have a boy somehow. So I just got them all into wrestling and football and all the boy sports. Now, they all seem to love it, and that's how they're growing up. Was that indoctrinated, or is it what they truly love? I mean, was
indoctrinated?
Were the other options available to them or not?
I'm sure they were, but what
Are
the
you
father
sure?
is saying.
Know.
Well, the indoctrination isn't just like, hey, do this. It's like, the reason you should do this is because Daddy will love you more.
Yeah, right.
And the government's like that. If you like to be a good little government bitch, and you do what we say, and we'll give you a little extra cookie.
Give you $100.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
fuck yeah, I love cookies.
Indoctrination comes best with badges, cookies. Being able, if you tell on your neighbor, you get an extra $1 or something. That's nice. So,
you get to have 5 people at Thanksgiving.
So I'm back here smoking.
Too soon.
Too true. We should talk about that eventually. It's nice to see that the governments of the United States didn't actually apologize. They just, or the government of the United States, government of the world, didn't apologize for all of their actions and obvious transgressions against the entire world, but they gave themselves permission to have fucked us over, though. That was nice of them.
They acknowledged it.
They were like,
we have decided we're okay to forgive ourselves for fucking your lives.
We're okay to
but
do
we're
it.
going to be all
you
right.
cheated on me. And for years, it's like, no, I didn't. And then one day they're like, I did. And it's okay.
It's okay because you liked it. You enjoyed it.
But I feel so much better.
That's not what I was looking for from you.
I feel so much better that I got it off my chest.
Exactly.
Now you get to live with it.
The first step was good. I like the first step. The follow through with the second step, third step's bad.
Kind of came apart.
Now you know 100% that your brother's cock was inside me. You get to live with that. But God, I feel great.
I kind of miss.
That's
the
why you keep your goddamn
ambiguity.
keep your skeletons in your closet. They're yours. They're your responsibility. Keep them there. Do not let them out.
Right. Burn
If
the
it's gonna
closet
hurt
down.
someone else, don't fucking let them out.
Burn the
Just
closet.
repress that shit.
Yes, you have a responsibility to repress that shit. If you got away with it, it's yours to fucking own. Hold on to that shit. Do not.
I
Keep
say
that poison.
do
in your
not.
stomach.
put it in a journal.
You are
and
not
give it to
allowed.
one of the grandchildren.
You are not
Be a
allowed
mystery.
to get the relief of getting rid of that shit. Hold on to it.
I'm not sure where we are anymore, but I love
What's
it.
happening?
I think we move on from what we were trying to talk about. I liked that conversation regardless. Where does it all start, the social indoctrination? I don't think we got to anywhere near an answer. But now let's move on to...
Par for the jar course. Jar for the course.
I think we may have gotten to the...
That's a shirt, boys.
Write that down. I'm not writing it down. I don't have a pen.
What'd you said?
It's a jar for the course.
Jar for the course.
I'd wear that shit as a hat, personally.
And it'll be like a ball in the sand trap, and a guy looking the other way, like, where the fuck is the ball?
With his dick in his hand, like
Yeah. His left
fucking
hand.
shadow
specifically.
boxing.
Shadow
Yeah.
boxing in left field.
Problems. All right, well, this next one, I'm not sure where this is going to go. It could be very deep. So prepare yourselves for maybe even tears. I don't know. But death, just in general. This is how we deal with death.
Yeah.
And fuck.
This is the
This
way
is
we
the time
look
of
at
year.
death. Yeah. I don't know.
We're
This
talking
was
society,
all-
our society in general. Is that what we're speaking of?
Sure, and
Sure.
us personally too. You know, I mean, let's get into some of our heads on death, because I know we've all dealt with it in one way or another. And I don't know, man. I feel like it's important to talk about death and try to be a little less fucking weird about it, because everybody's really fucking weird about it. You know, like there's like this weird, again, if you want to talk about social conditioning, there's this weird conditioning where somebody's like, somebody has somebody that died, and so they mention it, and then everybody just like reaches into their pocket of like, oh, here's the 5 appropriate things you're allowed to say to somebody who
Right.
lost somebody, you know, like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, on
wasn't
top-
your fault.
Right.
Not what I was
My
looking
sympathies.
For. Yeah, my
That's better.
sympathies. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Is that really the best? Like, is there a good thing to? Is there a good way to respond?
My
to that?
sympathies is
You know?
about as good as you can be, where it's like, I truly wish I could give you my energy.
You know what my answer to
help
that
you.
is? I try to let my answer be, if I have the time, or I feel like I know this person well enough, is I go, tell me about him. You know
I
what I
like
mean?
that.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to be sorry. Like, you already know I feel bad because I care about you. Why don't you share a story with me, or just get? I know you need to process this. Process a piece of it with me. I want to listen. You know,
That's pretty valuable.
how
I
about
would say.
that?
That's pretty badass.
Right?
I think
That-
Shaiden.
that's actually pretty
I
good.
kind of want to
Amazing.
vote Shaiden to be president of whatever club
Yeah.
is that is in charge of that. You should be in charge of that.
Well, I've dealt with not maybe more than my fair share of death. You know, less than others, but more than the average, I think. And I'm pretty. I don't want to say I'm cavalier about it, but I'm pretty. I'm well adjusted when it comes to death. I think like I'm. It's not the end of the world, but I afford it the level of respect and regard that it's due. But there's some shit about the way that we deal with death that really fucking bothers me, because I lost somebody that was about as close to me as you can get when I was not too long out of high school. And it's weird for me because I feel like if I ever bring it up now, years and years later, that I'm being a pain in the ass. Just because, and nobody really goes out of their way to make me feel that way, but it's like, oh, bro, that was like over a decade ago. Let it go. You know what I mean? It's how I feel people are going to respond. And
Right.
people that care about me don't. But there's still that piece in my brain that's just like, dude, don't fucking bring up your dead ex, you know? Like, that's just, like, ugh.
You're supposed to be
way to
beyond
fucking
that.
rain on the day. Like,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
your shit. You already processed it. Just let it lie. You know what I mean? It's just like, but to me, it's like if I ever bring her up, it's not because I'm looking for sympathy, you know. Like, I don't want some people to go, "Oh, poor Shaiden, he lost somebody and he won't shut up about it years later." It's I want some piece of her to still be alive, you know. Like, I have people that I care about that never got to know her, and I want to share my memories of her with them so that they understand that piece of me, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I 1,000% understand. I mean,
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense.
So, but it's just there's this kind of weird attitude where it's just like you're allowed to process it for a little while, and then you just carry it and quit bringing it up because you're wrecking people's day. You know,
I have an opinion on that as far as society goes. It seems like there's this special 1 year mark for as far as in our society and death. For 1 year, it's okay for you to mourn. In fact, you are expected to mourn up to that 1 year anniversary. Like, if anything out of the ordinary, like a relationship starts 10 months down the road or something like that, people will view you as kind
you
of
must
a piece
not have
of
cared
shit.
as much as you thought.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but you got to make it to that 1 year mark, and then you're kind of ollie off and
arbitrary
free.
thing.
On the flip side, if you mourn for longer than that year, you are weak. Get over it. Move on with your life. Why haven't you met somebody yet? You know,
Yeah.
so society kind of attacks people for it. And on
It's best-
someday I'll probably.
It's best to be at odds with society. If you find yourself in lockstep with society, you should look around and be like, "Oh, oops, daisy, I fell for something stupid, didn't I?"
Someday maybe I'll tell the whole story of Adam, but I mean, it's been 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And for 30 years, when it comes around, his death and his birthday were pretty close together, so it kind of lumped together. But I still write something publicly about Adam. It's not for not for attention. It's to commemorate him and say, 30 years ago, things that happened in our lives, you still impact me today. And I just want, you are a part of me still. And this is very important.
And that helps all of us
You're
who love
keeping that
you
memory
get to know.
alive too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like when you shared that shit with me for the first time and we really got into it, we found out we had some, I mean, it's not the same situation by any means, but the big death in my past, it was the same deal. Her birthday and when she died were super close together, and we ended up kind of bonding over that. And it was like we got to learn more about each other on a deeper level just because you had the guts to fucking tell me about this thing that was super important to you that you went through. And like, fuck, man, like framing it that way, maybe it's like, hey, maybe we ought to be doing that more. Like maybe we ought to like just, like let's do it more, and then call out anybody who is an asshole about it,
And you guys kind of know
or at
that,
the very least use it as a litmus test to be like, I don't need them. Like they're fucking, they're not jiving with my energy.
Right.
well, and you guys knowing me well enough to know, and you guys know the whole story and everything, that, I mean, he literally set a path in my life.
Yeah.
That otherwise for him, I would not be here today.
Yeah.
Pretty much guaranteed. So, another show someday down the road.
Yeah.
But my point is that I understand that. And as far as death, I mean, in my profession, I mean, I dealt with death almost on the daily. And, to very, very violent, gruesome deaths, to, old people, to babies. And, you get gallows humor. I mean, I laugh at shit that most people cry at. It doesn't mean that I don't care. That's just how I dealt with it. So dead bodies and stuff don't bother me.
Yeah. Our strength is
losing close ones. Yes, I'm still going to hurt. I don't, just because I can be around dead bodies and deal with them, and I can't have emotion. Even if I wanted to at a call, I'm not allowed to.
Right.
So you learn how to shut that shit off. But, it's different when with people that you care about. It's always going to be different with people that mean something to you. But, at work, it's like, this is just another call.
Yeah.
I just trying to help these people. I already feel like I'm invading because I'm coming in uniform, and I have to explain to them why I'm there, that we help out the coroners and the whole process that we go through. So I, just doing that the best that I can. And again, not knowing what to say to people, I just upfront with people, and I'm like, there is nothing I can say to make this better right now, but I'm going to try and help you through the process and explain it the best that I can. This is why I'm here.
That's a real good thing to say.
Yeah,
Actually,
nobody's in trouble. This is why I'm here. We only have 2 coroners for the area, so we have to do all this initial stuff, and then they'll decide whether they need to come out or whether to clear them by phone, and then we can. I'll call a funeral home if you have one selected. Then I have to help them with that process and everything.
So what do you guys think of the way we deal with our dead in our society?
As far as burial versus burn or anything like that?
Yeah, and the cost associated with
I
all
think
that.
it's fucking insane, and I think that it is one of the most virtue signaling businesses that there are.
I call it grief profiteering.
Yeah, it's like you didn't love him very much if you only want this casket. You really loved him if you want this and this headstone.
How about you put your tongue right on my taint?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Press hard, please.
Well,
Yeah.
in our sovereign family,
Just a little hook finger on the inside.
all three of us,
Push down.
all three of us know our friend really good. She wouldn't care if we said her name, but Shelby, and she works in the after death industry, and I was talking to Shelby at our show, and I thought it was funny because I've always thought this too. Like, she just came up and was like, "I'm burning a $10,000 casket tomorrow. $10,000, like made of some rare wood from fucking Peru or some shit."
Wait. Hold up. People get cremated in caskets?
Dude, brah.
You need kenneling,
this
dude.
is seriously news to me.
Dude, brah.
Yeah, you need
Why?
kenneling.
Right?
Why?
That's why I thought it was fucking like,
Who's buying a casket just to burn it?
right, brah?
That's all for the display at the funeral or whatever.
I'm pretty sure that they don't recycle those shit.
None of you guys at home can see my face right now, but I'm literally floored by
It doesn't
this.
make sense. You're right.
This is new information to me. I thought it was like you either get a casket if you're gonna bury the person,
So-
or you just put them like on a table with flowers and make them pretty in a nice suit, and then you put them in a cardboard box and stick them in the oven.
You bury the casket in the dirt, so I guess you put
to
it
preserve
in
them.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm going to get this on record right now.
Maybe
when I
less
die,
people-
I want to be skinned. Okay.
Yikes.
And I want my
Not it.
tanned. I want my hide tanned.
Zach
And then you take the
volunteered.
rest of
Not
me and you burn me. And then you take my ashes and you put them on a bear bait. And that first bear that comes in, you shoot it and you eat it. And enjoy my soul inside your...
That's way too much. That's way too much of a controlling fucking request. No, thank you. You
so
want in
elaborate.
my
I love
cells. He wants in our cells.
Yeah.
No, I refuse that.
Fuck it, I'll do it, bro.
I'm
I'll
in
do it
you.
for you.
Exactly. That's what
I'm
it was.
so in
Nope. Nope. I'll poop you out. Fine. I'll poop you out happily. But then I'll assimilate some of your ass, and some of you will
Yeah.
be in my heart, Jeff.
That's right.
And I see
And
your
in
game.
your lungs.
God
And I will
damn
give
it.
you pull-ups back.
You're a witch. Goddamn witch is what he is.
Was
You
that
see
last show that joke came up?
I think so. Yes, it was. It had to be.
God damn it.
Well,
Yeah. So anyway, to bring us back around
Bring me
here,
back.
I think
Bring us back.
the way that we deal with our dead is almost no matter how you slice it, it's just gross behavior to me. The cost associated with it, the pageantry around it, like it's been engineered to make you believe that you need to do that to get closure, and I don't think that's the case.
it's almost damn near illegal. Like, you have to do certain things legally to when you die, like with caskets or certain
Yeah.
ways of disposing the dead. Like, I couldn't bury a loved one in the
That's what I
backyard.
mean. It seems
without
like a
being crime.
racket, like there's cultures in the world where they'll take you and like they'll have a week-long party and keep you in the kitchen and just like they're like, this is our like we're having our last fucking get together with you and all the people that like you, and we're hanging out with you.
That's what I wanted to ask you guys.
And they're not fucking weird about it.
Right.
Because they haven't been taught to be weird about it. Like, even little kids are like, oh, that must scar the children. It's like, no, because they're not taught that it's a weird fucking thing to do. It's just like, that's grandma. Grandma's gone now, but this is our last party with her.
Yeah.
But I also
Don't ask her a lot of
So everybody can
complicated
say
questions.
goodbye.
But I also understand why people can have even extra trauma when they come over to grandma's house and grandma had died in the bathroom and she hit her head on the toilet, and then so she's been in this position. So there's this enormous, looks like from The Shining, pool of blood. That's going to be really a lot more traumatic.
Yeah.
And cause some serious
No doubt.
incidents.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I wanted to ask this since this question came up.
And,
Like, what
that
culture?
happens more than not. I mean, that kind of stuff happens all the time, right?
For sure.
No, I don't think there's much of a real dignified way to make an exit in this world, no matter how peaceful
unless
you
you're
die.
lucky enough to do
Everybody
so.
shits themselves, like
Just the way the sphincters don't want to stay sphincted in no more. What cultures, or if any, or any kind of concepts, even maybe in fiction, would you say are respectful ways to treat the dead? What would you assimilate into your life?
I don't know that there would be a way that I'd be like, that's the way that everybody should do it. I think whatever is right for you and the people that care about you, however they want to honor you, should be fine. I just don't think that it should be made to like be this big pageant that's gonna put you in debt. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like that's really that's the avenue that you're left, unless you want to break laws, more or less, in our society. And I think that's wrong, man. You know, like, if I tell you guys, hey, I want you to fucking take me out in the woods and build me a pyre and just set me on fire, and
we commit felonies, Jack.
Everybody fucking have a good old Viking style party in the woods, and then burn me at night and don't set the forest on fire.
Right. Do your best to be responsible.
You know, like, I'm not saying that's how I want to go, but if that's what I decided, I think that should be the way that she ends. As long as you guys are on board and decide to have that follow through, then fuck it.
You would think if you were going to call yourself a citizen of a free country, you would have some sort of liberties at the end of life with the most important transition. You would think that would be real, goes without saying, but
it seems like the way we deal with death in general is just super disrespectful. Like, the way we push life insurance on people and shit, you know, like, especially old people. And it's just like, oh, quit it.
We're super cunty about it.
Leave death alone.
I wonder
like,
why.
Show some fucking respect, you cunts.
So, to answer your question, as far as other cultures, any culture that celebrates the life as opposed to mourning the life, I like better.
Yeah.
One of my ex-wives was Hispanic, and I went through the first time with her family, their process that they go through, being a Catholic family, and I think it has more to do with the Hispanic culture. It was a 7-day long process.
It's rad. Yeah.
There was a lot of really good food and a lot of alcohol, but it was a lot of crying. The women all get together and cry. I guess that's just kind of part of it. And do the rosary. So it's a long process. It was, I couldn't drink any more tequila. I was just getting trashed. But the guys have a blast. The guys all hang out and, you know, talk shit to each other.
I like that. The Irish are that way.
Food.
You know, when someone passes away, it's the biggest party of their life.
The thing I thought was really weird was that half of it was mourning with the females, but the men were all cool and partying. So that's a weird culture structure that I didn't really understand.
It's a Catholic thing, because like I just said, the Irish do that too. I'm not sure. Catholic can throw down. Is that true? That doesn't seem true. Boston.
Some types of tradition I really think are garbage, but I really think that, like, death and, like, birth traditions in different cultures are usually pretty fucking cool. You know,
I mean, some cultures have criers that come in.
Criers.
Yeah.
That didn't know him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they get hired to cry. Well, so I had taken same ex-wife to.
Can you imagine being a professional crier?
Yeah, to a viewing
warm up.
for when my grandmother died. She went to the viewing, and, you know, it starts off quiet, and my family starts showing up, and it's getting louder and louder and louder as people are coming from out of town. And pretty soon it's just hooting and hollering and laughing, and everybody's just having a good old time. And she looks at me, she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you people? You white people are fucking crazy." Like, what? She's like, "If this was my family, they wouldn't need medics on standby for people crying because they could have a heart attack. Like, you guys just, like, this is." I'm like, "She had a good life. Last time I saw her, she tried to eat a flower." Like, she just did not understand.
Well, maybe, I mean, on this topic, death is so serious. And yet it's so for sure going to happen. So it's like, well,
we're very selfish with death in all reality. I mean, the person that dies, they move on to whatever that is, nothing to something. I don't know. But the funerals are not for them. The funerals are for us. You know, everything that we do really is for us in our mourning and not having them in our lives anymore. All of our responses ultimately come from a selfish place. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just comes from a selfish place.
Religion. I mean, wouldn't you argue that, like, most of the religions are based on a fear of death?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
I consider Christianity forgive me, my friends, but a death cult in a lot of ways, because it is about the death.
Yeah,
like, most of your life is about how you're going to deal with your death and afterwards.
But for what may happen to me in death, I need to act this certain way in life because of fear of what happens after death.
And that's a theory. That's a way to look at life, I guess. But the problem is that you're taking leaps of faith that just man made up thousands of years ago, you know, that in a not very civilized part of the world, and you're kind of going off pretty far with that. So maybe life is about preparing yourself for death and a bigger, longer, more important life or some shit in heaven or hell or whatever. But we're guaranteed that you wake up tomorrow going, well, I can do a bunch of stuff today. I mean, you're not guaranteed, I guess, to wake up tomorrow, but today, as of your consciousness, you're guaranteed that. So it feels weird to throw it away. That's why I've always kind of been like, that's a philosophy. I'm not going to toss it out totally. Maybe there is something to that other side thing, and maybe
be one of those little nuggets, those keeper nuggets.
Yeah, exactly.
You sift out. We were talking about.
The possibilities there. I guess the ability to define it, whatever the fuck that is. I'm not even going to pretend like I know.
Right. Me either. Yeah.
Well, and I think everybody is different in what they need for closure. I think everybody needs some form of closure, but what they need is different. You know, like for me, for example, I've never really needed like a place. Like I don't need to go to a cemetery to visit, or whatever. That's just not for me. Because I'm like, as soon as somebody makes an exit from their body, I don't really associate them with their body anymore.
Same.
So
I've never visited my mom's grave.
I'm like, yeah, I don't need to do that. I appreciate that some people need to go through those motions, and I'm like, that's fine. But it's just not for me. I don't need that. But I've learned through my ex's death that like I still have a need to like see some evidence of them being gone before I can square with it. Like there will always be a what if I can't see solid evidence of them actually being dead. There'll always be a what if in my brain because I'm just wired that way.
The deceased body is what
not
you're saying?
Necessarily. I need to see some like, even if it's just like a funeral where you don't see the body, but like everybody's there and everybody's like, yeah, that person's gone, like all the people that were close to this person are like,
so
yeah,
they're
gone.
Conspiracy shit coming out, basically.
I guess, but like, so to put it in a real example, when my ex died, it was at a hospital that I couldn't get to in time, hours away, and her body was just surrendered to that hospital for them to dispose of, and there was never any kind of service. Her family got angry when we talked about it to other people that knew her. They were like, that's his family business, like don't talk about it. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, so there's always going to be this part of me, even though yes, I'm quite sure rationally that she's been dead for a long time, but there's always going to be this part of me that's like, what if she's not? What if she's fucking out there somewhere? And that fucking is a shitty thing to have to live with, because like I never got the closure that I felt like I needed.
Yeah, maybe if you do a process, like I release balloons every year. That's like my process. That's my thing that I do. That's my 15 minutes to think about everything and process it, give out my tears or whatever, my thank yous, and then move on with life. Maybe since you can't have that physical closure, you can do some sort of process that way where you can think of your position.
How many songs have you written about this in this vein?
A lot.
Right. Has it helped?
Yeah, I think that was my way of processing it for sure.
I try the balloons too. That's pretty beautiful.
There's a lot of different ideas. That's just a simple one.
Pretty beautiful though.
One of the most upbeat sing-along songs that I have is, and I'm outing myself a little bit here, but it's actually completely about my ex dying. Oh. And people sing along with it, and like nobody's really made the connection of like, oh, this is a happy song that's really not fucking happy.
Yeah, it's my favorite song too.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. If you actually go and look at the lyrics of that song, it's like, ooh.
Well, those are the best though. you know?
And
it's
I knew
a really
that.
great song, and that song was kind of like my very first like tribute to her. And I was like, she was always.
I wish you guys would.
She was always really fucking happy, and not in like an annoying, suspicious way. And like one of those people that you're just like, wow, you're sincerely just like a light person, like you're light, And so I was like, if the first fucking song I write to process this is a really sad, depressing song like I want it to be, she would be like, dude,
motherfucker,
what the fuck?
So you're like, whoa.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, you get a fucking pop punk song, man. Take that.
There's been others too, huh?
Oh yeah, lots.
Well, Godspeed on that for finding the one that does the right medicine. But I bet when people sing that song back to you, it's complicated.
Yeah, well,
It's designed-
especially when it was new. Now I just kind of like it's kind of like my little shared joke with her. It feels like, you know, because it's just like all these people are getting on they're singing about dead person. You know, it's like my fun inside joke with myself that I now everybody fucking knows. You guys don't tell anybody.
Yeah, don't.
All of you people
All
that
of the-
just listen to me say
all
that.
of you
Keep my secret.
This might have been the wrong place to say that. If you want to keep a secret,
had to come out sometime, right?
I have a song like that too that I've tried to play. I've played it like 3 or 4 times because it was from my mama, and I call it "Standing in the Temple of the Center of Time" because I like those kind of titles, I guess. And I don't know, man. Like when I wrote it, I was hustling because all my life I'd written songs for my mom because she liked that shit a lot. Like I'd just record some on a shitty 8-track recorder and then give it to her, and it was like. It made her happy, and so I wrote lots of songs with that in mind where they were pretty crap. And then I started working on this song to help me process, and then at the end of her life she's like, I can't wait to hear it. And I was like, had planned on playing it for her, and then I was like, I can't share it with you. And she was like, why? I was like, I think this one's for me. And then when she passed, or actually when she was kind of in the very, very end process or whatever, I got to go to hospice and play it. And it helped process it. Like it was kind of crazy how putting those words down and then singing it in the moment was kind of powerful. It's amazing how that shit works.
It's a special experience. I did that with my grandma on my dad's side, and she was in hospice. I went and I brought my guitar with me, and it was like we got this rare quiet moment between the parade of people that had just been coming through. You know, it was like there was always family in there, which is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it was exhausting for her. You know, it's just like, oh God, you know, like, okay, that's good. Thanks for coming, guys. Go home.
Tell me your story. Yep, I love you too. Bye bye.
But it was just like we caught this moment one evening where, and I wasn't super close with my grandma, but it still was kind of it felt special to be able to share it with her. But she just asked me to. She was like, "We play your guitar." You know, and I said, okay. And it was very quiet, and she was like obviously really tired, so like I didn't even sing at all. I just did some random like fingerstyle shit for a while, and then I looked up and she was like good crying, you know, and like it was like the one time in hours that she had been lucid, you know, and because she was on so many meds, she was just kind of in and out of coherency. But it's special having those kind of moments. It's like, that's cool. I'm glad we got to share that.
Makes you thankful that you picked up the music path too, because you're like, well, I can do this for people. That's pretty cool.
That was the other thing too.
Can't pay my bills, but I can
that was the other thing too about going to calls a lot and dealing with dead bodies a lot, is I had to deal with a lot of family, and you know, it's crazy to watch people go through a couple stages of grieving, like right in front of your face. Man. You know, there's 7 stages, and I can't say them verbatim, that you go through, but
mostly masturbating. I think that's like 4 of the stages.
You don't go through them.
My favorite parts.
7 stages over a year. I mean, you kind of maybe do, but those also can happen within minutes of each other.
I think it's both.
And watching that roller coaster is just insane, and having to deal with your job, plus having to deal with people coming up and more, and then sometimes you get more and more family. You got 30 family members there, and you're by yourself trying to deal with a dead body and get all this information and be loving and caring to everybody that walks in the door. You're fucking exhausted by the time you're done.
Will you give us
I feel like you've got to be a minority of people that made it through a career doing what you do and still manage to maintain a good degree of empathy at the end of the day.
And sense of humor.
That's true, and that's weird, and I'm trying to find out why, and I don't know why. It's just who I am, I guess. You can't. It's just a natural part.
You're not
of me.
a military
That's just who I
guy.
am.
You're not, and I'm not talking shit about military at all. But you come from. You really had to kind of.
I'm more of just the opposite of military guy.
I think so. You maybe could empathize with the criminals a little more. No, I don't know. That's not it. I don't know how you got a good brain for processing things when you need to.
You got a good mind, but you operate from your heart, and that never got beat out of you.
It can be dangerous doing that, though.
Yeah,
well, it's nice. It's nice been seeing you retired, because you get to kind of delve into some of the stuff that you didn't get to do in the process.
Yeah.
Although it's got to be fucking tiresome too, emotional ride for you, because you're like, wow, I get to feel more.
Oh, it's funny to look
Every
back
day.
at parts of my career, and now I'm going, that was going on. It's like, wow, that was clearly like some PTSD issues. It doesn't mean I'm suffering from PTSD, but you go through times where you react to some of that stuff,
I think,
which we'll probably cover here in just a little bit. Some of that.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying with military, I feel like military is trained. Nobody can be trained to fight or flight worth shit. You just can be hopefully trained to do what you can if you don't flight.
You can be trained to maybe more likely than not. More likely than not, you will have this aggressive attack reaction versus a retreat or.
And that's why I said with you, like you didn't go the military route. I think military route police officers probably are set up to succeed in the job, despite not succeeding a lot of times. Like you were saying, a lot of cops don't end up like you did, but they at least have some training where it's like, here's really dangerous shit. Like you just get it on the job. Like that's what your first.
Yeah, a lot of military guys I want with me on a gunfight, but I don't necessarily want them.
It's hard to say.
It sounds like I'm talking shit about military dudes in my profession. I'm not at all. I just noted that some guys that were in the military too long, when they came out, they had a difficult time dealing with people, just conversating, because they were so military.
Yeah.
And also they had a hard time making decisions because whatever they did in the military, they weren't decision makers, and they've been told what to do.
It's one size fits all in the military too. I think with a lot of that psychological,
and that
stuff. That's why I was saying, like you pieced together a thing that that made it so you could kind of, and your own personal DNA and shit, and the way you are. I think
I just fucked up so much that I could pretty much relate to anybody that I dealt with. I'm
right.
like, oh, I've done that.
And military guys are like, I'm not fucking up is the point, right? So I don't know. I'm maybe just grabbing at things that don't exist.
There's a facet to what you're saying, but I mean, it's.
I probably don't know what it is.
Not
though.
a constant.
I tried, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, it's the trying that counts, kinda.
Anyway, that was more on the death thing. Even just how people respond to it initially is so different.
Yeah.
So we've kind of let's come back to the death as far as like, it sounds like a Viking funeral. It's not the thing that you said you wanted, but it sounds like something that's like off the top of your head. You're like, that sounds better than what we do here now.
I'm pretty fucking specific about what I want, and it's literally what I want. I just don't know how you can skin me. I think the best that anybody can do.
I was getting at the specific.
I would think the best is you can they can do reprints of your tattoos. So I maybe need to get pictures of all my arms and everything to have like an arm, both my arms done, both my legs done, then my back and my chest, and have them like art on a wall.
That'd be rad.
So that's the best I can do. So just torch me after that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess if I really had to pick, it would be not too far off from what I said, but I've always loved the burial at sea thing. You know, like put me in a boat with whatever you want to send me with. Just know that it's going to burn, so you aren't getting it back, regardless of whether it goes wherever I go, which I doubt.
Gold don't burn,
it's a
baby.
cool gesture, you know. So, but
scuba diving afterwards.
Yeah, put me in a little boat, push me out in a body of water, and do the flaming arrow thing. I think that's. And then have a fucking party.
Be funny if you did that, but then you don't have any friends that are good enough with bows and arrows.
Yeah, everybody just missing it.
It's like, fucking, we don't have any more arrows. That's all, Shaiden, you fuck. Drown.
Do it where there's a waterfall, I guess, so there's a plan B.
Yes. See, that's well done. I always, when I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say this, somebody asked him that, it kind of stuck with me, but I still don't know what I would want. I don't know if it matters.
I don't really care that much at the end of the day.
I'd like to be disintegrated, I guess, by a blast of fucking something to go anyway, so who cares? But
that's cool. Explosions.
But I liked Neil deGrasse Tyson answered it like, I want to be buried instead of burned, so that the flora and fauna that I have dined upon throughout my life may feast upon me. Something like that, paraphrased.
Cool. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
And then many years later, like a few years later, perhaps from this very speech that he gave, inspiring millions, I saw a company actually offer a tree kind of service or whatever, where the body goes into like basically a starter nutrient pack for the tree.
That's kind of fucking cool.
It's ashes is what I believe they use.
Yeah, and then the joke was that's like, I'd like to be some sort of nut tree so you can eat my nuts. But I like the idea of like bugs and shit feasting on your body and then building into something. But I don't need a monument. I don't want to be remembered. As soon as I die, I'd like to be forgotten, except for my family who are receiving hopefully some money from me. But that's about it. But a tree, I guess, would be the least. It'd be like, that's just a tree. That's not Zach's tree.
Build me big statues.
Both of you
3
guys are
stories
getting
tall.
pyramids. Both of you guys are getting pyramids. If I'm the last
let's
one.
go.
Remember
I'm up
me.
For a fucking
I don't need a statue. I just want to be remembered
I respect that.
for making an impact, a positive impact on the world.
Well, I'm making a statue and I'm putting your skin on it. So
Your tattooed
I'm okay with that, though.
will be the outside.
It's your statue. All right.
All right. Have we gone down the death path in a satisfactory way to you two gentlemen?
I feel great about it. I love death.
Okay. I feel like this is something that we'll have to revisit again. But as far as how Americans process death, we kind of suck at
The
it.
detriment
except
of taking a first breath is you have to take a last breath.
Oh, we've had some deaths in our little community since I've really been running with you guys and the whole SKATCAST crew too. So it's like it feels like it's a valuable thing to talk about and just be like, because I know we talked a little bit on Discord and whether it's a dog or a friend that you've known for a long time, like fucking death makes an impact, and I think it's worth dragging it out and talking about it once in a while.
Any way that you feel is okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think there's a wrong way to grieve. Anybody who tries to tell you that you're doing it wrong can fuck off.
If you are having
homicidal's bad though.
if you are having problems, if you're having
I'm sorry, go. If you're having problems,
be honest with yourself about it and go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Start talking about it, whether it be a friend or professional help, whatever. Talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then you can get into exercise activities and stuff like that to help.
which is probably the best way to change your
up
chemistry.
to moderate depression, etc.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to suffer in silence. I'm gonna second that after you, Jeff, because it's easy to. I mean, even if it's way after the fact too. Like fucking, I probably just needed to talk about this shit today, so I was like, hey, let's talk about death.
That's all I said.
But
too.
it was really just I just kind of wanted to fucking get some shit off my chest, and you guys got to fucking deal with it, and now all of you guys got to deal with it.
What do you want to
too.
talk about, Shaiden? Death. That was his answer. Death. Okay.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Done. I got a question for you about death. Have either of you ever had a dream about a person that you lost that felt more like reality than a dream, or enough to where you felt some sort of closure or an addition to your relationship?
I have dreams about Adam and Tom all the time.
Do
Tom
you?
was my stepdad, yeah.
And
And they had the same birthday, which is weird.
really?
But, yeah.
And does it give you any kind of start your day off good, or make
no,
your
it's
relationship
weird.
feel?
No, if you want to hear, it's the same dream every time. All of a sudden, it's mostly about Tom, but all of a sudden Tom just shows up. Like he came back from the dead. Like, oh my God, we thought you were dead. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm alive again. And then it's like trying to go do things with him and hoping he doesn't die again.
Oh.
So yeah, just a weird thing.
So you have to relive that over and over. Huh.
So, and Adams is more like Pet Cemetery. So those aren't good.
No. Thanks.
Yeah,
You don't have to answer.
only
either.
hundreds of times probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
So both of your brains are kind of tormenting you a little bit, huh? Or is
Not
that too
necessarily.
much?
It's just the brain doing what the brain does.
yeah.
being a cunt a little bit.
I don't think it necessarily means anything poetic at the time. It's just a weird dream I had.
Whenever I get out like in the woods away from the noise, I almost invariably have a dream about Tally. It's something about just being away from the noise and that frequency. It's just like that's just what comes, and it's not like I wake up and I'm like, oh fuck, like it's just like like it makes me feel some kind of way, but it's not. I'm not upset when I have those dreams, you know what I mean? Because to me, it's just like, oh, I got another moment, like even if it wasn't a waking moment, I got another moment. And
It doesn't matter
cool,
though, does it? That's, I guess, part of the question where it's like it's almost as valuable.
Yeah. And it doesn't, to answer your question about closure, I've never had a dream that made me be like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
right.
I'm good, like, I don't know that I ever will, but,
right.
But it's okay, like I'm good with it. And I had a weird, like, I'm assuming it was a dream. It was either that or some sort of visitation when my buddy Brent died, but like I went and played at his funeral, and he was like kind of he's like taught me my first song on guitar and shit, you know. And so I went to Canada and played at his funeral, and I got home that night, and I was laying on my couch watching TV and just kind of like feeling, and my couch was in the middle of the room, and then I remember I looked up kind of into my kitchen, and like Brent was just like standing right there, you know. And I felt very awake, and I probably was asleep. I mean, I don't know what else would explain that, but I felt very awake, and it startled me. And he wasn't like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, boo. But like, it was just, he was just standing there, and he kind of just raised his hand like, hey, see ya. And then I blinked and he was gone, you know. And I was like, So that was probably a dream, but that was, I guess, a little bit of closure with that one, you know, because I was just like, cool. He was like, hey, thanks for playing at my funeral, dude, later. I was like, sweet.
Regardless of whatever it is, it kind of felt special to you, right?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
I brought this up just because it's, I don't dream very often, very rarely, because I smoke too much pot. And I guess it reacts with me to where I don't remember my dreams. But the other day I had to take a nap, so I had like an hour nap, and I had a dream about my mom, and I haven't had a dream in general for a long time, but I got to hug my mom, and I got to give her shit like I always did, because I'm in my show. I should say sorry to my mom every show, so I do, because I'm kind of a dick about it, but I got to kind of give her shit, and I got to see her smile, and I got to hug her, and it felt so fucking real.
Yeah.
And that I woke up going, God damn, brain, thanks for that. I'll take that. That was nice. And it felt like an addition to our relationship, regardless of how real it is in the world.
Sure.
And yeah, it's like, I don't know, death is so weird like that, because we want to believe that our loved ones are waiting for us somewhere. And when shit like that happens, you're like, well, fucking, is it in my head, or is there a connection? Is there a ether that leads to my, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it kind of leads us with hope and leaves us with dumbfoundedness.
We come up with all kind of weird theories too when people die too, don't we? Like it's shit that we don't tell people because they'd be like, dude, what?
Absolutely. They visited me in a pancake.
Yeah.
I know it sounds strange, but we had a thing with pancakes.
Her soul's living in my hamster. I swear my hamster's different than it's ever been.
It's not even like born the same day. It's just like, well, I just popped into the soul. Yeah. Little soul fits in the hamster.
She liked to tickle my taint, so does the hamster.
I wonder what the silliest way to process death is of all the human silliness.
I would love to know.
I know.
I'm sure it's completely ludicrous.
I know. Well, we'll have to research that maybe if we ever get interested.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we move on down the line to something really light? We're going to do the Reasonablest Party, but it's a light Reasonablest Party.
Reasonablest light.
Yes. We're going to talk about cell phone driving. So
I'm all for it.
Shaiden's reckless as fuck. But here, do we, as a government, since we have to have a goddamn fucking government for the Reasonless Party, is it legal to cell phone drive?
Well,
Shaiden
again,
says yes.
People need to get their shit together, because let's look at what happened with the cell phone issue to begin with. So everybody started getting cell phones, talking on cell phones. So everybody's bitching because everyone's not paying attention. They're on their goddamn cell phone. Think about it. When you were driving today, how many times, honestly, did you bitch about somebody in front of you being on their fucking phone? Probably 3, 4, 5 times.
I didn't notice
because
I was on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one or the other, right?
Well, I got in a car accident the other day because I was on. No, I wasn't.
So that became such a complaint that they decided that laws were made of that. That cops don't sit around and circle jerk and, you know, think of laws to come for us to enforce to fuck with people like that.
Yes, they do. I've seen.
You know, there's a process for that shit. You know,
yes.
And it starts with the people bitching.
Right. Like, something must be done.
Yeah. So
about these
something must be done
phones.
about people driving like shit in front of me. Give them tickets for cell phones. So then police go, okay, well, I guess I got to go be a fucking dick and write people tickets for fucking cell phones because that's what people want. And then we stop people from being on their cell phones and write them a ticket, and then we're a dick.
Right.
Because it's everybody else. So either be okay with everybody driving more recklessly on cell phones, or don't. Make up your fucking mind.
How dare you be the policing arm of the will of the people, you cunt.
God damn it.
Did I ever tell you guys about when I got pulled over for being on my phone on the freeway and then he let me go?
Yes.
Because it was funny.
Maybe.
So
I've heard a lot of funny things too.
I worked for this rental car company, as the two of you know, and I had to drive cars between the city and the airport a lot, depending on what needed to happen with inventory. So I've done this drive zillions of times, and I'm going up the hill towards the airport on the freeway, and this guy in front of me had a license plate that I thought was humorous, and it made me think of a snarky comment I could make, but no one was in the car with me to enjoy my brilliant intellect, so naturally I took a Snapchat video and I did it that way so I could send it to all of my homies, right? So I'm following this guy on the freeway with my phone up, and I make this little snarky comment, and it was just like a quick 5-second and then I tossed it on the seat, and I was like, I'll deal with that later.
You're literally focusing on the car in front of you as the target.
Yes.
Right.
And I made no attempt to hide what I was doing. I was just being a cheeky little fuck, and I just did it. And then I tossed my phone over, and I looked in my rear view, and the stater rolls right up on me and turns on his lights, and I was like, yeah, fuck. I probably deserved that. So I pulled over.
I was very obvious. Sorry.
So I pulled over on the clock in a company vehicle, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
He comes up and... He goes, how you doing? And I was like, well,
I have drastically decreased in good.
He goes, I pulled you over because you were on your phone. And I was like, yes, I was. I'm not going to try to bullshit my way out of that. I certainly was. And he was just like, it looked like you were taking a video of the car in front of you. And I was like, that's exactly what I was doing. He goes, mind if I ask you why? And I said, well, to be honest, he had a license plate that I thought was funny, so I took a little cheeky Snapchat video of it. And he goes, can I see it? I went, sure. Unlocked my phone and I held it over to him, and he's standing there straight faced, and he watches it. He gets to the end and he goes, all right, we'll cut that shit out. That's not safe. And I was like, you got it, sir. Thank you so much.
You got the joke part. That's what saved me.
I think that even since the cell phone laws came out, cell phones have become, most people have
hands-free.
Yeah, hands-free device, whether it be
technology
headphones.
will solve this problem.
Yeah, so does it still distract you from driving? Yeah, but so does having a fucking passenger. So does having kids. Don't have kids in your car. That's the biggest fucking distraction there is.
The point you're making is it's kind of arbitrary that we pick this thing and not cheeseburgers, huh? It's it could be. Cell phones are very distracting. If you're playing fucking crossy roads or some shit,
right,
you probably shouldn't do that. But there's 1,000 things that are legal that we do. It's fine. I don't know. Is that what you're trying?
Yeah.
It sounds like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Fuck me running.
But stop bitching about cell phone problems if it's okay to have cell phones.
I think it's also fair though if the insurance companies, if you get in a car accident or you cause a car accident and you were on your cell phone, if they want to punish you.
Oh, there's a actual citation for that too.
Yeah, in my society, if we had it, very libertarian little L society, I think that would be the repercussion to keep people from, because we know it's more dangerous for some people can. Shaiden is saying I can do it. Jeff, I know
until the day that you can't.
That comment will probably bite me in the ass one day, but it could be any other thing, like you said, that distracts me that also bites me in the ass that never has before. But by several people's own admission, some people can do it, and some people
should be able to pull your kids in a trailer behind your car.
Some people can't fucking walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's just know your limits.
Yeah, and the answer is, when the reasonablest party hits the scene in any kind of way, there will probably be the technology will be. You just integrate your phone into your car anyway, and that's already what's happening.
Even be driving. Cars will be self-driving by then anyway.
Exactly, but your car already integrates into your phone, blah blah blah. But even more so, so where it won't ever be an issue, kind of thing. And it probably really isn't now. I wouldn't imagine it's as much an issue.
Do you think that humanity is going to? Because naturally, we can't really multitask. We can cycle rapidly between tasks and juggle them, which some people are better at than others.
Yeah,
but we can't actually truly multitask. But do you think? If we continue on our path the way the relationship we have with technology,
Cyborgs.
do you think we'll evolve to the point where our division of focus is we can basically multitask because we're just lightning switching between shit?
We have
constantly.
It in us.
I think that people do it now. Obviously, are trained to do that. I think it's trainable for sure.
Well, I don't know. The Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman is based on a guy that. His brain was able to read one page with one eye and another page with the other eye and process it and memorize it. Mm-hmm. So it's that's capable inside a human brain. And so with the little help from cyborg, right? But with the help of some cyborg shit, maybe they can get those synthetic neurons firing,
or just enough generations worth of exposure to that sort of processing like those sorts of synapse.
Or it's just
firing,
going to create more medications.
Imagine if they
to give
tried-
people for their fucked up brains.
Imagine if they spent if they took a bunch of first graders.
Not to rain on your fucking parade.
Big
but
thumbs up for the cynicism.
Wait,
bro.
what'd you say? I think I must have missed that. I missed it.
just throwing it out there.
I was busy thinking about a test group of first graders that we'd make them read with one eye and then the other eye and to see what happens.
Tested on children. That's the next logical step.
Well, they're the ones to learn how to read. Learn with both eyes on both pages. See how that works. Rain Man. All right. Well, cell phone driving, is it legal in the
I don't
reasonable
think there
sporting?
should be a law
I don't
one
give
way
a
or
shit.
the other about
Yeah,
it.
same. I think.
Police yourself in that
But I
regard
do think-
and own the consequences.
Yes, the consequences, maybe your insurance company raising your rates if you decide
Yeah, or
to
you
do
kill
something.
a family of 5.
Right, which you can weigh which one's worse. All right, let's move on to advice that we give ourselves. And this one is, let's see, I think this is a Shaiden one. Or no, this is a Jeff one. No adversity that you didn't earn. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is a
Jeff
quote.
deserves the bad things that happen to him.
Yeah, basically.
There's more to this
That's
quote.
kind of where I was going with that. There's no adversity that I've ever faced in my life that I didn't either earn, have coming to me, or that I needed to learn the lesson behind. You know, if you think about life in general, I mean, we make decisions all day long, and a lot of times those decisions are made with good intent, but there's a bad outcome. I mean, bad outcome might not ultimately be your fault, but throughout the succession of whatever happened, you have some responsibility in there. Find out what your responsibility was. Did you fulfill your responsibility, or did you maybe not do enough? Could you have done something different? Learn something from it.
Right.
Figure out what your part was. Even if you feel, hell, even a relationship, if you feel so wronged in a relationship, say you were cheated on. Well, think about your relationship. Go over it. Even though the action wasn't your fault, did you do some things in the relationship that maybe would lead it to be that way? I mean, it could happen, right?
Was your significant other cheating on his previous significant other with you when the relationship started?
Yeah,
and then you were shocked when he turned around.
I mean, that could be
Wing.
and
I've seen it a lot.
It could be a personality issue, but it also could be a shitty relationship issue too. You know, I mean, that's just one example. It's always easy to give examples of relationships for that, but you know, if you lost a job or you failed at something that you tried to start, you know, look at what you did, you know, and you decide whether you're going to try again or not, but learn from it. But always find in anything that happens in your life, and people are so quick to look at the fault of somebody else that can take the blame for this or some other circumstance.
Oh, yeah.
No, specifically look for something that you could have done different. Don't beat yourself up over it.
Right.
Just acknowledge it.
That's the fine line.
And try it again or decide whatever you're going to do from there. But take some amount of ownership in anything that happens in your life.
Yeah, there's a lot of value to owning your shit, even if you feel like you didn't deserve it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or it's like, hey, is this disproportionate to whatever crime I may or may not have committed? Yes. Is it mine to deal with anyway? Also, yes. So instead of crying around about it, I'm just gonna maybe bitch for a second. And then I'm gonna fucking
And maybe even
try and
bitch a
learn
lot.
something from it.
Maybe even bitch a lot
and
for a
do
while.
something about it.
But understand at the end of the day, you know, fix what you can fix, deal with what you got to deal with, and
It's still
ultimately
your
at some point it's going to pass and you can move on from it.
It's still your shit, and there's almost always something you can learn from it. So yeah, I agree with all that.
That's not
entire
always
sentiment.
easy, but I think that with any problem in your life, you have to get there over time.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
Agreed. Solid advice.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, every failure is a new lesson. The same thing. All these roadblocks in life are. It's how you look at it. It's
just
our life.
failure is
about,
just a measurement of where you're at.
Yeah.
Get further next time.
Our mental health is based around how we filter all the information that comes at us, no matter what it is. You know, and there's some things that push us, but our job is to filter things properly in a way for us to stay functional. Maybe not calm, but functional.
Zach filters things through bong water.
I do. Do I sound like
Everything.
I sound like a bong water right there when I was talking. I sound like the embodiment of bong water currently, like a talking
He's a walking
bong water.
sack of bong water.
Lots. That's probably true.
You're right, though. I agree. Everything you said before I was a cunt, I agree with that.
All right. I want to move on to the fuck this, yes this thing. This is Shaiden this time, and this comes from the government and the Department of License. Oh, no, this is Jeff. This is Jeff and fuck the government. That's right.
Hey, I agree. Fuck the government.
How this, but this is how the state talks to us. Yeah, Jeff, you and
so I was going through the Washington State Department of Licensing driver's book because that's fun reading.
Yeah,
and
that's a nice bit of propaganda there.
There were just some funny things that I saw in there. I have to find.
Well, the theme of this is that, and the reason why I'm for it, this conversation, real quick, is just that it seems like the government and just really anybody that ever propagandizes anyone, they do it very condescendingly. Like, there's no way to do it in a respectful way.
It's also very clear that, like, they paid somebody to overthink something that never needed to be overthought.
Well, I don't think that anybody reads this shit when they're taking their test anyway. Like, they specifically have law enforcement stops. Police vehicles attempting to stop drivers will do so by turning on flashing lights and or siren.
Can vouch.
No shit.
False.
Drive as close as you safely can to the right side of the road. Stop and turn off the engine. Again, people don't read this shit because people do dumb stuff. They just stop right in the middle of the goddamn road on you.
Nice.
There's panic. Do not stop in the intersection or pull into the center median of the highway. They do it all the time. Limit your movements of those and those of any passengers. Well, people are usually diving around their car, either hiding their dope in their guns or getting out their
getting out the movements of your passengers.
Stop moving. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Passengers should keep their hands in plain view. Show your driver's license and or vehicle registration only when requested. Stay in your vehicle. Do not get out unless requested. If it's dark, turn your vehicle's interior dome light on after stopping and before the officer approaches the vehicle. Yeah, nobody does that. Do not argue with the officer at the scene. Most people do that. Traffic violations and traffic crimes charged against you are decided in court. So I just thought it was funny that they had to have a whole discussion on how to act when the police are there. Which was this one?
It does seem like valuable
and this one is like,
there are no dumb questions if it's like dealing with the state, bro.
It says how do you exit your vehicle once you parallel parked next to a curb. Check traffic before you open the door.
Nah.
Get out of the vehicle on the curbside if you can. When opening the vehicle door,
what?
Yeah,
crawl over the center
Yes,
console.
No shit. Drivers and passengers should do the following: check your rear view mirror, check your side view mirror, open the door with your far right hand. The hand furthest from the door. This is called, it's got a fucking technique. It's called the Dutch reach.
Dutch reach.
I thought the Dutch reach was something I learned on Pornhub. Yeah. I did not realize that it also was used for this.
Degree
it's
of
a similar
difficulty,
method too, of reaching across.
Please reference my earlier statement about paying somebody to overthink something that never needed to be overthought to this degree.
Anyway, this is called the Dutch reach method, which was originated in the Netherlands.
Well, good. But they're driving on the other side of the road, aren't they? Come on.
Awesome.
Then why is it the Dutch
It
reach?
forces your
Why
body.
isn't it the nether reach.
Well, they're Dutch. It reached the Netherlands.
That's too hot.
It forces your
spicy,
body
yes.
to turn, which will better allow you to see approaching bicyclists. It also prevents the vehicle door from being opened too fast. This not only protects bicyclists, but it can also prevent your door from being damaged or torn off by approaching motor vehicle. Shut the door as soon as you get out of the vehicle.
My goodness, government, you've thought of everything.
Oh, they did.
Here they come to save the day.
The nether reach is the.
And this one was more just about.
That's probably one of my favorite things in the podcast so far.
And then there's this whole thing about seatbelts and car seats.
It's the fucking nether reach with your far
Nether
right
reach
hand
method.
not your southpaw.
There's a whole nother thing about car seats. But basically, it's like you need all these car seats and safety measures for your kids, unless the vehicle was made before 1972. Then it doesn't fucking matter. You can just throw them in there, let them bounce around, because those cars were much safer back then.
Yeah.
So I feel about my Jeep when I'm driving that thing, my old 92 Cherokee. It's got no airbags to speak of whatsoever. And I've had people get in there and go, bro, like, don't you feel like, what if you got in a crash? I was like, it's going to be a bad day for somebody else, dude. This puppy is a lot of steel.
Apparently you have to learn about...
Big blocky engine.
Apparently you have to learn about bicycles in your driving test as well.
Fuck yeah.
Bicyclists cannot carry packages unless the rider can keep at least one hand on the handlebars at all times.
I can run.
However, you have to keep both your hands ready on the wheel, ready to brake. So I'm not sure how I do
there
that.
Goes that
to stop
box.
in time.
That box is fucked. The state says fuck boxes, save yourself.
What if you have a single
there's specific rules for dogs when you're biking. The spinning wheels and your feet may attract dogs. If the dog starts to chase you, ignore it, or using a firm, loud voice, yell no, very specifically, no.
In English.
The dog does not stop. Get off your bike and put it between you and the dog.
Jeff, you said it wrong. It's no.
Anyway,
followed by ouch. They warned me this would happen. My spinning wheels attracted every dog in the neighborhood.
I found it rather entertaining how childish
my spinning wheels brings all the dogs to my cuss.
God damn it.
No, thank you for that.
Yeah, I love being talked to like I'm a dumb child.
Right. Especially by people that are obviously more qualified to tell me how to live my life than myself.
The Washington State Department of Licensing is one of the better organized scams that I have seen as an adult. Like, dude, so fucking asinine. When we did the car rental stuff, we did the majority of our licensing in Idaho because they're pretty reasonable about it. And it was cheaper, and we had a location there, so we would do that. But in Washington... So this Jeep that I have, that I just love to talk about, right?
The steel machine.
So this Jeep was left to me by my grandfather on my mom's side when he passed away. It was the only thing that my grandmother didn't take from everybody's inheritance because he had dementia when he died, so she was sole power of attorney. She's like, no, nobody gets what he wanted them to get. But for some reason, the Jeep made it to me.
Nice.
And but when I inherited it, I had to pay inheritance tax on it when I got it. So I paid tax on it when I got it, even though he paid tax on it when he bought it, right? So then I paid inheritance tax on it.
The government thinks you're very stupid.
Then for a while, I gifted it to my mother. And my mother had it because it was her dad's car and she needed a car. And I had another car. So I was like, I'll gift this to you. But
tax
I want
again.
it, but you're not allowed to sell it. I want it back if you're ever done with it, you know? So you can gift it tax-free. That's the whole purpose of giving it as a gift. Yeah. But only once. So when she... gifted it back to me years later.
After it got stolen?
After it got stolen.
And I took that report, by the way.
Yeah, it got stolen while she had it, and I paid to get it out of the fucking impound lot. And then, taking possession of it again, I paid tax on it fucking again. I'm like, man, this is a pretty fucking slick operation you guys are running.
Plus the tabs, plus the fucking license plates, or all the shit, your driver's license.
Yep.
It's a pretty good racket.
Yep.
If we were the reasonablest party, I think I'd just let people drive. They have to. There should be some tests, but has the test helped? Has the
test of proficiency? Well, I mean, as far as
a lot of people die every
as far as people like learning initially, like the basics of driving, yeah, sure. I mean, driver's ed. Okay, fine. Like, take driver's ed, get your license, and then...
Well, yeah, I still agree. Yeah, it's a machine. You need to learn how to...
Yeah.
But the tests obviously aren't very rigorous. But being certified. But here's what I'm saying. Like, how much are we really getting from that? Like, when I went to California...
Well, it's because you won't get off your fucking cell phone and keep running.
When I went to...
That's enough of your personal attacks.
How dare you? When I went to California...
I did forget you just got into an accident.
I did. God damn it.
And it was not cell phone related.
It was not cell phone related. It was
Chinese food related.
It was. It was delicious. No, but it was partly this
Did you eat it off the dashboard?
I should have.
Like, I would have fucking taken like a chow mein noodle and been like, well, fuck me.
I did. I did eat some. I had a bite of rice. I was like, this is why I'm here. It's on the floor.
Ooh, this egg roll
Mongolian
survived.
floor noodles. Mm.
A lot of it survived, thankfully. I forgot what I was fucking talking about now. I have no idea.
You're talking about the driving test and how you think it's useless.
Well, it is kind of. When I went to California and took the test, I didn't study for the California test. They're just like, to be a Californian, you have to prove to us you can drive. And what I didn't know is that
inconsiderately.
exactly.
Yeah, really,
over
really
the speed
fast.
limit by 20 miles an hour at the minimum. Just
Do
kind
not
of
allow
handled
one.
that stop
Do
sign.
not allow one vehicle space in between you and the other car at all
You handled
times.
that stop sign incorrectly. You're supposed to like kind of slow down and roll through it. You
Yeah.
stopped completely. You
fucking idiot. You could cause an accident from fucking
Washington.
Don't you know the flow?
Someone's gonna run into the back of you.
It's pretty bad. But the test was, I for a second I was like, oh fuck, I got to take the test right now. They're like, yes, you do. And then I took the test and I was like, oh, that's why. Because it's like, well, does the car go on? Yes. Can it be turned off? Also, yes. Winner. Here's your keys. Fucking get out there and have some fun.
The flashing red and blue lights are on a police car. True or false?
Ooh, no comment.
Pretty sure that's
Fine,
fire
good enough.
department.
Could be. I don't know.
Ambulance.
But basically,
Final answer.
it could be one or the other. It had to be, I don't know, fucking. If it's actually valuable,
You're just really, really
if it-
smart, and it
if
was
it's-
easy for you.
No,
is
no,
what
but
you're
it's
saying.
not. It's not because I'm smart. Like a gun test would be relatively difficult, wouldn't it? To take I mean, if you're getting a weapon and you have to,
You would have
do
to
a
study for it,
proficiency,
yeah.
you'd have to study and you have to show your proficiency.
Practice, yes.
With the car thing, they're like, turn the car on now, parallel park. Okay.
So I had
But you
a
came
really-
from another state and you had a driver license already, so
I know.
I had a really
Okay, fine,
different
I'm a cunt.
experience than you because they do not make it easy to get a license in British Columbia. Like,
Well, Canada
it
seems to
was
have a different
fucking
kind of-
rigorous deal, and I don't know, like their system's not bad. I think it was pretty good. Like
That'd be a pretty good driver to drive around those big old provinces.
The test wasn't easy. I had to study for the fucking written test, and I had to practice a lot to fucking do my driving test. And then even after that, I was still on probation for a year. I was only allowed to have one passenger, and fucking, like it was, you call it your novice license, and you have to have like no tickets or anything for the entire year, and you're never allowed more than one passenger. And then if you make it through that, then they're like, okay, you can have your license. You earned it. So it's like a 3-year fucking process.
I wonder if that's
we have
valuable.
some intermediate driver license stuff, but honestly, I don't even know what the laws are on it. I didn't care.
Yeah, just like, I'm sick of this conversation. Let's talk about some punching a bear in his dick.
So I think, we should have a fairly rigorous fucking process that you have to go through to get a license for a car.
More
Like,
so
it's
now?
a dangerous machine.
More so
you know?
than now, or the same as now?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do it here, so you make it sound like it was bullshit. So yeah,
Not
more
Washington.
so than now.
Washington was we had to do to get my license initially. They didn't have driver's ed where you could go to the private schools like they have now, where you have to pay for it. You could do it. From
I think now
your
they
teachers.
don't. Now I don't think that the states do. You have to go private.
Yeah,
now.
that's exactly it. It was the opposite. So we had
Hey
to.
man,
our
let the states do
basketball
what they want.
teachers-
It's fucking
Yeah,
it's up to them.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
I went to Texas and I had I still had my novice license when I moved to Texas from British Columbia, and I like explained to them what that was, and they were like, "Oh shoot, here's your license.
It's driver's
You've
ed.
done enough."
Don't you worry. We
I
got
have a
kids
Washington
driving
question.
tractors at 9. You're fine.
I didn't get my driver's license initially in Washington. I got it in Oregon. In Washington, is driver's ed required?
Yes.
Okay, in Oregon, it was not. It may be now, but it was not. I had driver's ed, but it was not required.
I don't know if it's required. It's required at a certain age. I think to get your initial at 16. I think you have to have gone through it. But if you're 25 or 30, I don't think so. I think you just have to pass the test. But I'm not sure. It's a good question. I don't know. I want people to be able to drive. I don't think it's very hard to prove that you can drive. After a couple times out in the road, it's like you need more practice, or maybe. Blah,
I think
blah.
pit maneuvering should be part of the basic driving course.
I was doing that to a guy in my little accident almost.
How did we
No,
turn
but-
this into a?
A reasonable thing,
reasonable
because we're being conditioned.
We are. It's important, though. It just all
Conditioning
comes back to
ourselves.
the Reasonableness Party. These are the founding tapes of the Reasonableness Party. That's why.
What the fuck started this anyway? What were we
How the
talking
state talks
about?
to us.
Oh, I just was
Oh, yeah,
laughing at the
yeah.
shit in the Washington State Department of Licensing guidebook for taking the written test. It's like, God, they talk to you like you're a fucking child.
But not one part of government.
But then I also
better.
recognize that nobody reads the shit anyway because they don't follow any of the instructions that we're given.
True.
That was a long time ago, man.
Let's see. Let's do a little thought experiment. Let's see if we can find the agency that in the government that treats people with the most respect. Let's see if we can go through
Police.
some. Police?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to say? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Police is the top one. How about TSA? Okay, that's probably low. I found out today post office is mainly privatized, it sounds like. I'm not sure about that. I know they get a lot of funding.
We looked into that a little bit, and what we found at a glance was that the USPS website does state that they are almost completely funded by postal services and products. However,
they are subsidized.
However, they are
billions of
heavily
dollars.
subsidized by the government, like
Right.
to the tune of $8-point-something billion during the whole COVID.
And that
thing.
is not private.
Yeah, so it's like,
I wish I was subsidized.
Is it
As a-
privately funded or is it not? So,
It is
I don't
not.
know. There's
It
the
skews-
waters are a little muddy there.
I'd say it skews the market towards government price fixing.
Yeah, you
and
think?
shit like that. Just a touch. Just a touch. Anyway, so yeah, how the state talks to us. Is there any places that, besides police, that you're right, because that's the first line, the government talking to the people, and it's people, and you guys, despite your reputations, you guys know your shit, and you guys know how to talk to people generally. So you especially were good at that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a little
People
skewed.
didn't necessarily want to take my advice on how they could fix their own problem.
Yeah.
And urging them very greatly that you really don't want the government involved in your life in this. You could probably fix this yourself by just removing yourself.
Yeah.
That would help a lot.
Yeah.
And, what do I know?
What's the most condescending agency, do you think? IRS?
The DMV.
DMV.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What about, Child Protective Services?
Oh, yeah, DOL maybe even over DMV.
DOLs are all like private franchises now, though.
Are they?
Yeah.
So are a lot of the DMVs.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a step forward, but we just get rid of all that
Actually, a
shit.
friend of mine owns the one on the South Hill. I love going there because I'm treated with some respect.
That's how I feel about the one on Sullivan. The one on Sullivan over by Perkins is pretty decent. And
Oh, yeah.
and
I have a friend that
there's
works
a
there.
fucking tap house right next door. So if you have
Go
to
get
wait,
drunk
yeah.
before you take your test.
Driving test.
Hey, I just bought this car from this guy over here, and I'm gonna take it home now. But I need you guys to sign it over to me.
Will you test drive it for me? Thank you.
It's not my fault. You guys made me wait for 2 hours. What was I supposed to do?
You set me up.
So I wonder if the IRS is the one that talks down to us the most, actually, when I think about it. Because they're like, we're going to ruin your life if you don't just do exactly what you're told.
Right.
I don't know. That might be the worst. But there's 4 or 5 agencies. That,
Dude, I think we could completely do away with the IRS.
Same. But I wouldn't say that too loudly.
Certainly don't
Keep
hire.
that to yourself.
Certainly don't hire thousands of new fucking agents for enforcement. That would be also cool.
Yeah, but they need that money, bro. They're writing a lot of checks that shouldn't be written.
They can't cash.
Definitely not. All right. Let's, before we jump into that whole topic, why don't we go into something fun? And this is something that I've been looking forward to since the moment Shaiden brought it up. It's something, since Jeff and I, we don't learn. Shaiden learned something, and we're going to learn from him this week. The glitter conspiracy.
Yeah.
All right, throw down. That's our
Okay.
last bit for today.
All right. Okay. So
And actually, there's a letter we're going to read, too.
do you wanna do the letter first, or?
I didn't know if you want to do that or not.
I 100% want to
we
read
can do
this,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like the glitter thing is going to be a show ender.
Okay, all right. We're going to do the letter first. And just keep in mind that there's glitter coming. This one's to Jeff. And this comes from Fat Cat. All right. I'm not sure if he wants his name in there or not. So I'm just going to say this is for Jeff. It says, question for Jeff. I know he's a good cop, in quotes. Fuck. Okay, so there's a lot of rhetoric on the far left about, quote, the good cops need to turn in the bad cops, otherwise they're a bad cop too, end quote. I grew up in rural areas and moved to the city, blah, blah, blah. I've seen a lot of different styles of policing. Did Jeff ever find himself in a situation where he knew he was working with a shithead, and how did he handle it? What's his take? I know there's a huge difference between city police and rural. And then, sorry for the grammar, fuck's sake. But thank you, Mr. Fat Cat.
It's a loaded question, quite honestly. Did I know cops that
Well,
were...
unload that shit and then safely discard it.
So the reality is, there was like everybody's talking about the bad apple theory. And I get so fucking tired of hearing that.
Wow, shit, he's a fat cat. Be nice to him. He spends a lot of money with it. No.
What the fuck? No, that's not what I'm not,
These are jokes, Jeff. I'm throwing jokes at you, buddy.
Okay.
Curveball.
I want to make sure I'm coming out clear. I'm not attacking him by any means.
Okay.
Just in general. The reality is, most people that would be the bad cops, they don't make it past the training program. There's so much shit that you have to do to get into law enforcement. I mean, the 7 stages of even getting hired, which is...
Okay, Jeff, I don't believe you. I'm skeptical of that. Tell me how that happens. The 7 stages.
Okay, well, yeah.
Because people are like, no, that can't be right.
You have to pass your written test. You have to pass your physical test. You have to pass your oral board first.
That's the first I'm a cunt test, right?
Those are the first 3 tests that you have to get through.
But 2 of those don't make it so you can know if somebody's a jerk. If you can do a bunch of push-ups.
Right, I'm not done. I'm only to the 3rd one.
I'm just going along kind of like Wild Kingdom. Just hanging out, narrating as we go. Okay. All right.
And then there's the whole extensive background check, which is done through other employers and neighbors. They will fly to other states to go talk to your neighbors.
So there's 2 out of the 4
employers
checks.
And people that know you. So there's the background check, and then there's the polygraph.
3 out of 5 now are for if you're a cunt.
And then there's the, of course, the medical physical, which doesn't really determine that.
Right.
But then there's the psychological testing,
Do they ask you
which
some
is
like
about 6 hours.
Do they ask you like some fucking deep cut questions when they polygraph you, or is it pretty tame?
It's been a long time since I've been polygraphed.
Would they ask you, have you ever killed anyone?
No,
you want to kill anyone?
No. It's not like that. They're all either designed for the answer to be yes or the answer to be no.
To see if you're capable.
But they're basically to see if you're honest, and check your integrity through your whole history of your life.
Yikes.
Have you lied to us about anything? But even at that, even if you can make it through all that, then you actually have to be smart and make it through all the academy, and then you have to make it through the training car, and then you're on probation for a year where you can be fired for fucking anything.
And all your peers are judging
and
you.
Yeah, and this shit, people don't make it very far in the career if they're going to be a shithead. Now, having said all that, being in this career, you are expected to live as an angel amongst a world of fucking monsters.
Yes.
Right? Over time, that does impact you, and if you don't have the appropriate releases for your stresses throughout the job, some of that can come in ultimately as negative behavior. You start acting like the people that you're dealing with.
Right. A lot of people, when they're around corruption, may be tempted to be corrupt.
As you, everybody knows that, cop work and alcoholism go hand in hand. Cop work and divorces go hand in hand. Cop work and suicides go hand in hand. Cop work and short lives go hand in hand. Cop work and injuries go hand in hand, which lead to drug abuses, just like any other normal person. But our job is go deal with everybody else's problems. When you start living in that culture, if you're not dealing with your stresses appropriately, you can actually act out in criminal ways, for sure. I mean, this is part of not being able to get help as a police officer that can create some of these issues. I'm not giving excuses. This is just shit that can happen.
Well, and people get jaded, right? I mean, if you're dealing with the same criminals over and over and over, the same exact people getting out and fucking doing the same bullshit to people, I mean, that's got to get frustrating where you're like, fuck it, I'm punching them harder this time.
That's not,
so there are some
exclusive to that field of work either. I mean, like, people that work at hospitals, they lose empathy for similar reasons, because it's just like, oh, here's this same fucking drug addict through here overdosing again and again and again, and we keep sending him to rehab. And like, you're like, I heard these questions when I was in the ER just last week. I heard this nurse talking to this guy. She's like, well, do you actually want to quit? Because if you don't actually want to quit, we're not going to send you to rehab. Like, you have to actually have the intention to. Like, it was very clear this was not the first rodeo.
Right.
It's like, can't imagine that the level of empathy is still what it was when you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed straight out of nursing school. Or
totally.
So most of in the public eye of the shit that we've been seeing, most of the bad apple cops that have been pegged bad apples is up for debate. Quite frankly, they are crucified by the public's view of something based on how it's been twisted throughout the media. And some of these have even gone to trial, and the George Floyd case is one. It is debatable. People will argue with me all day long. the decision was made. That's how he has to spend his life. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he was this terrible bad officer before this incident.
Right.
It
was convenient to make it that way. And he may be. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention.
Yeah, there's a whole lot in the case. There's a whole lot that are arguable and debatable, but both sides presented their cases and a jury made a decision.
Whenever the public decides something, I'm always skeptical of it because they rarely know the details and care to follow up.
But that's just one case. There's a lot of cases. A lot of these bad apple cops, really, they were just doing their job, but because of how it's portrayed, it's looked at as negatively. But really, they did the right thing at the right time. At the end of the day, if a trial deems it was outside the lines of the job, okay, then that's what it was,
right.
Fair or not. That is unfortunately the risk of that is run in that career. And sometimes there are really shitty dudes that end up doing shitty things.
Okay, to follow up with his question a little bit, like, did you ever have a fellow officer where you were like, wow, how did you get through the process?
I had one officer that I could see he was having some mental issues that I addressed with him and was able to get him down another road. He ended up going off the road, but still in the job.
Okay.
So, in fact, he took a position that I would have had otherwise.
Oh, wow.
To get him off the road, so he could continue his career and be safe.
I see. But he was going to be that bad apple.
But he was just going down a road where he was going to be dangerous and maybe make a decision that was unsafe. Yeah.
But what you're saying is that.
But it was clearly PTSD issues.
Yeah.
For sure.
With multiple years on the job and it starting to wear at you, that bad apple thing is just a moment in somebody's career.
Right.
A whole lifetime of really great apple, and then one day wakes up and he's like, wow,
there's just a colliding of a lot of things going on in their lives where a decision was made where in another mind frame he might not have made that same decision. I mean, but these, unfortunately in the job you have to make these split-second decisions that may affect your life and other people's.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make you a terrible person or a bad apple. It's one incident.
So society's wrong to think of it like that, just like with any other profession.
Exactly.
It's really not bad apples. We're not bad.
But can
psychopaths
can
don't
it exist? Yes, but
it's tough to be a psychopath and become a police officer. It's tough to get past those things and be good enough at tricking people.
Yeah, on a long enough timeline. Yeah. Usually you're out very, very soon.
Yeah. So it's mainly
because
mistakes.
you got to understand, everything that you do as a police officer is scrutinized. Every call by the people that call by dispatch. What the call is, to going to the call, and the people that you contact, to the report that you wrote, to the sergeant that approved it, to the attorneys that it goes to the any complaints that are on it. I mean, everything that you do is looked at so hard, and people don't understand that. I mean, it goes to every report that I wrote went to at least 4 or 5 people, even if it was nothing.
Right. People don't understand that.
No.
So, but I'm glad that they get to hear that here. That's valuable. So I hope that's a pretty good answer to that question, I would say. So you have dealt with somebody and you sent them on a road that made it safer for
everybody involved.
Yeah, for sure, and without ruining his life and stuff too. Yeah.
And before anything criminal happened or a decision that he made that would have seemed clear at the time, but really was probably the wrong decision to happen from where his mind was at, and it was from him being in too many shootings, quite frankly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Yikes. Well, we've already talked about the thin blue line here and how, depending on what part of the world you're in and what precinct you're in and all that, it's mainly bullshit.
It's very cutthroat, actually. It's quite the opposite.
Yeah. What the thin blue line has turned into meaning in America now is citizens supporting police or family members supporting police, and not police officers supporting police, because that's what the thin blue line is supposed to be, right?
It's supposed to be this hidden secret community that we all have a grand poobah for, and we live behind, and we cover everything. That shit was gone with cell phones, man. That's the reality.
Yeah,
cell phones came out. That if any of that was going on, it was gone when cell phones came out. So there you go. It's on camera.
Right.
I know that's when I stopped going to any cop parties.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. I know how we party, and I know that if any higher ups, we could be judged for what we did off duty too. So if any higher-ups that didn't fit within their own personal morals, they could find some sort of policy violation that I could lose my career for. I'm not showing up.
Right.
And it happened. It happened.
We are asking police officers to be kind of mythical type men and women, it does seem, instead of like recognizing it. But I mean, it is a high position in our society, although it's not treated as such anymore. I mean, you trade your rights away a little bit as a police officer. You don't get your certain amendments to be able to work for the state and have a good pension, and also facilitate the taking away of other people's complete rights almost. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Weird ass world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the
you know what,
government is
though?
what I'm
there's a
saying,
lot
man.
of things that wasn't good about it. But there's a lot of things that it was definitely. I'm glad again that I did what I did, because I got to see life through a lens that has been amazing. It's been very, very raw and very real, and it hasn't been pretty for the most of it. Some of it has been, but it's been probably the most real view of life I think that anybody could get is through the windshield of a police car.
Yeah, man. You wouldn't change it, huh?
Fuck no, man. It's a circus and it's incredible.
Right on.
You know, and now I still get to look at the world the same, but I don't have to personally address the issue. But I still can pick out the same shit everywhere I go. I mean, I can't beat that out of me.
Mm-hmm. Well, fuck. Well, let's leave it there. justaridepod@gmail.com. Fucking thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for this nice long ride.
Mm-hmm.
You got
no? I want to learn something.
Oh yeah, we got learning.
Oh yes, the glitter conspiracy.
Fuck me. Oh yeah.
You thought
Settle down there.
You thought we were going to get away without the glitter conspiracy? Not today, my friends.
Edit, cunts, edit.
No, I say not edit. I say keep it real.
Fine.
Keep it real.
Fine. Yes, I want to hear the glitter conspiracy.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do this from memory, but I just learned about this week, and I haven't gone to fact check any of this. So if I'm talking bullshit and you guys find out, let me know. I'd love to know. But I don't know that it's super consequential. I don't know that it's really worthy of a ton of research. But it was kind of fucking interesting, and it's a thing that people are wound up about right now. But so apparently, there are only 2 companies in the U.S. that manufacture glitter. There's only 2. And I think they're both based in New York. And one of them doesn't disclose their name. They're just some company, but we don't know what they're called. And the other one is called Glitter X. Okay, and Glitter X had
Elon Musk
an interview with somebody. Maybe SpaceX Glitter
fits
X,
the
right?
fucking motif.
But there was an interview done with one of the directors, executives, I guess, of Glitter X.
The glitter mogul.
There's apparently a glitter shortage right now. Like there's more demand than supply for glitter.
It's a fucking problem.
Which
That is.
But why? Where is all of it going? All right, because glitter is small pieces of plastic that are I don't remember what the term is, but they're coated in aluminum, right? That's what glitter is. It's tiny little pieces of plastic that are coated in aluminum. And like outside of fucking, I don't know, strippers, kids' crafts,
Makeup.
you know, paint for jet skis, helmets in the NFL.
No, I'd say glitter's used in a lot of shit, dude.
He's listing them all, actually. Okay,
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. Your
What
list
else?
is getting pretty big.
What else?
Well, all the
Fuck,
things.
I don't know. Keep going with your list.
that was all, that
I was just
was
agreeing.
literally all I can think of.
Shower shit. No, that's more.
Sex toys,
Cell phone cases.
other kids' toys, grips for bicycles, any type of gel kids' toys got
Probably
fucking
lots of
glitter in
toys,
it.
yeah. But that's okay.
So, but why is there a shortage? Because
it is plastic.
That
'Cause there's a
shit.
shortage of everything.
It's easy to make.
When you
and-
close the world down, shit's gonna stop getting made.
I
But
guess,
why glitter?
but
Why
why
is
glitter?
glitter the-
Like where there was only
The
2
buck
companies
stops here.
making
Because
it. Like,
we have been spending
Maybe that's why.
years trying to please your generation by throwing glitter over your goddamn head.
That's mainly your thing.
just you're the reason the glitter.
You
know
guys
what?
wanted glitter and sparkle, so we got you all. You used it all up.
I think I have
It's no good anymore.
I think I have a hypothesis.
Okay.
It says
The world needs it.
There's 2 companies, and it's showing us right out of the gates how a non-competitive industry, since this is its own industry, has its it puts a lot of pressure on the structure and the organizational skills of two companies, and those companies probably rely on each other in some ways, probably many ways, since they're direct competitors with each other, unless they own each other, and that's why they haven't disclosed that thing.
Maybe.
So if one of them fails, they probably both fail when it comes to distribution and maybe some supply chain shit. That's not necessarily true, but it shows the weakness of having two instead of 4 or 5 or 10. So, but I'm not sure. That's just a hypothesis that the two companies aren't enough to distribute the world's anything.
So here's where the plot thickens, okay? Because despite all the things that we listed off, I just don't see there being so many of those things being purchased up right now that they're like, hey, we don't have enough glitter, we can't supply it. And this is where the conspiracy part comes in, because they talked about well, we supply a lot of it for paint for like jet skis and that kind of stuff, and the helmets in sports, you know, like they're like those are two big ones. They volunteered that information, but they said that their other biggest consumer, the entity that buys the most glitter, they cannot disclose.
It's got to be makeup.
They're like we can't, but what they did say is it's something that you wouldn't imagine, like that you're like, you wouldn't expect glitter to be in it.
Dildos, baby food.
You can, well, food maybe. That was my guess. I was like, they're putting it in food for some reason.
Right. So this is some strange unknown where glitter is?
They're not. Yeah, they're not. All that this person that was interviewed said, and this could just be brilliant marketing tactic, which is kind of my theory. They're like, "Ooh, we'll make a hubbub." And, but they said we can't tell you. We're contractually bound to not disclose who this buyer of medicine, huge quantities of glitter is.
Donald Trump is going to run 2024. He's already predicted he's going to win.
His golden hair is made 100%
biggest party ever.
Glitter.
Huge, magnificent.
Huge.
We got the best parties, the most glitter.
I got the most glitter in my hair. My hair is 100% glitter.
So that's the big question. Who is this mystery entity that's buying up so much glitter that there's now a shortage and they're not allowed to disclose?
That's weird. And glitter doesn't seem to be able to be recycled easily, because it's once it's put into the world, it goes into a sloppy. Like, I bet fish are eating glitter. That's what's happened to the glitter. It's
have
it's just in the
fish
oceans.
food? It kind of looks like glitter.
Fucking right. They probably would love it.
Yeah.
If you put glitter in the water, would they go after it and look at it?
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried. I probably won't.
If you put a worm out there and you dance glitter around it, and you put a worm over here,
well, I will tell
glitter.
You, actually, I can
that 1,000 times.
Have you ever seen a lot of the bass lures?
They're glitter.
Have you seen a bass boat? A bass boat. If you don't have glitter on your boat, you don't have a bass boat.
Well, that's maybe what's eating up all the goddamn glitter.
And then it's fishing lures. Bass, a lot of glitter.
They said the fucking sea dews and shit and boat paint, like they volunteered that.
Right.
So
that was number one. Yeah. Well, shit.
So that's the conspiracy. Where's all the glitter going?
Where is it going?
What are they putting it in?
Eye makeup. It's all eye makeup.
I think so too.
But you would expect that. They straight up said it's something you wouldn't expect glitter to be in.
Well, maybe they're throwing us off.
I think they're full of shit.
Maybe
you wouldn't.
Like I said,
they're like,
the food.
We can't give you the answer because we don't fucking have one.
Well, what's a food that shimmers? It's all some sort of Skittle.
So somebody said Colgate toothpaste.
Ooh.
But then
there is aluminum in it.
They looked at it and no, there's plastic in it. There's not aluminum.
Oh, there's no aluminum.
There's aluminum. There's like some sort of aluminum oxide or something, but it's not like chunks
metal
of aluminum.
Yeah. That's same with deodorants and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, the little flakes in there are plastic, and there was some hubbub about that, but it's not glitter.
Right. But if you spit it out anyway, what difference does it make?
Right. Well, yeah.
Well, you can assimilate some
I'm being
things.
sarcastic.
Yeah, but you're right.
So that's the glitter conspiracy. Go look into it and decide for yourself. I found it slightly mysterious and vaguely interesting. But I just thought it was funny. Like, of all the things that were like, there's a shortage of glitter.
So was this a headline that just clearly caught your eye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I can't see you going down.
I have ridiculous RSS feeds that I just kind of flick through, and I'm like, that sounds fucking interesting. What's that about?
And that's why he brings these things to us, and we're like, I don't know. My RSS feed is just crap I don't want to share. I'm sad about it. All right. Well, shall we end the show here? Is this the point?
I think so. We made it once again.
I got to go pack.
You got to go up to punch bears and dicks and fucking
Deer. Just deer.
Deer dicks.
honey.
Deer
Yeah.
dicks.
Deer
Yes.
dicks.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well-
they don't have bones, so it's not nearly as impressive. So
Bring back some good horse cock, would you?
Yeah,
I
man.
will. I actually meant to bring some more bear cock today, and I forgot.
Tasty
Sorry.
treats. That shit was delish.
Yeah, I'll bring you some more.
That was the best so far in my mind that I've only had a couple from you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is good. Don't get me wrong. That guy does some good shit. I'm just very sad that my guy, his wife passed, so he rolled up the door, sold all his equipment, and moved.
Oh, sad.
That sausage that you had when I was living with you is still my favorite.
Yeah, that's his. Yeah,
that
that's
was-
Larry's.
that was-
I don't know
Larry
if I ever
Fugate
got to try
is a
that.
stud when it comes to meat.
Yeah, it was
But
good
this
shit.
is okay. This is the first time with these people.
I kind of got excited. I was like, man, I was excited that at first that he was going to sell his place, not on the circumstances, but I'm like, I could do that.
You could too.
And then I thought, no, because I would never hunt. I would be so busy during the hunting seasons.
That's true.
So I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. Never mind.
All right. Well, this sounds like a whole opening to another conversation. But I think it's
Sorry.
I think it's late at night. I think the whole family's gone to bed, and fucking A. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us,
yeah.
and thank you guys in the studio for joining me.
Yeehaw. You know what though?
what?
You know what? We'll talk to you in the future.
Oh, it'll seem like the present.
Oh, so that's how that feels.
You're such a tart.
Bye, guys. Bye.
See ya.
It's just a ride. Whoa, oh, it's just a ride.
Bing.
Bong.
God, did he belch out of his ass?